enter Brown University's campus, as a member of the public. Obviously, the buildings have key card access, but it's certainly a place where people generally feel very safe walking around. It's a progressive campus. There are, as you said, Ivy League. There are no, students aren't allowed to have guns on campus. The Brown University police officers are armed, but obviously Providence police are the lead in this case, and they got to campus quickly when the 911 call came in. But
all right, welcome in, everybody. We have it's been a developing situation the last couple of hours. I started getting notifications at about 4:30 this afternoon that had been a shooting at Brown University at the campus. And right now, as we know, there's at least 2 students that were killed, 9 people were injured, and the shooter opened fired at Brown University. And if you're not familiar with Brown University, it's in Providence, Rhode Island. It's a private Ivy League research university. I used to spend a lot of time down there as a teenager and in my 20s, right down on Thayer Street. And, I used to go down to all the punk rock shops down there, the record shops. There was an Army Navy store we used to hang out, lots of great food down in that area. A real hipster type of community. It was kind of punk rock back in the 90s, but it became a very hipster community. And this story's been developing since about 4:30. I started seeing notifications and things popping up on X about it. So let me get you the latest right now. Authorities are still searching for the shooter. There's been an order to still shelter in place, and we'll play the live feed here in a minute. Who the shooter has been described as a male in black and is believed to have fled on foot. Residents have been told to stay inside. So there is a shelter in order in place in and around that area of Thayer. It goes on to say, let's see, President Trump has been briefed on the shooting. More than 400 law enforcement officials and local, state, and federal agencies, include the FBI, ATF, and are in the area, in the scene of the incident. So I want to let everybody know there is still an active shooter in that area, and this is still a developing situation. Let's get the live feed here from BBC News.
Confirmed now, 2 people have been killed, 9 injured in that shooting. And we heard from the president of Brown University, Christine Paxson, moments ago, saying that all of those casualties are believed to be students at that university. Let's bring in our North America correspondent now, Sean Dilley, who's been tracking this story for us all night. And Sean, you were listening in as that press conference took place just moments ago. Walk us through some of the new details we learned there.
Yeah, I will do. And the bits that kind of stood out, because like you, Carl, I was sort of listening through. The key new bit of information is the fact there's a 9th person injured. Now, we learned a little bit about how that injury happened, not in specific detail, but apparently they weren't shot. It was a fragment being near somebody else who was shot. So a couple of the other points, obviously noting that it's non-life-threatening injuries in that case. There's no reason to
let me see if I can get any updates on
any
X.
additional threats at this time, although they did say they don't know whether they could or couldn't have been supported by somebody else. A couple of significant points. We spoke earlier, Carl, about the ability of the Bureau for Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms to look at, say, striation marks if there are bullet casings that are left. Well, we now know that bullet shell casings have indeed been recovered from that scene, which could be useful. The authorities will be releasing CCTV from the building fairly shortly, and they are appealing for information. We'll talk you through what we know from the media conference.
All right, let's listen here.
The shooting happened inside a classroom. That's significant because we know people were taking in the building more generally end of year exams. CCTV apparently shows the suspect leaving Hope Street. Doesn't show really an awful lot of detail we expect, but the clothing is either black or dark grey. Some people had reported to authorities that he was wearing a mask, but they say that detail isn't confirmed. The CCTV does not show a gun, but they say there is video inside the building. Carl, I'm sure you noticed this as well. There is very good CCTV inside the building. Officers are combing through that CCTV at the moment, and they say so far, bearing in mind we're still at an early stage, they haven't managed to identify the person from within the building. Now, there are an awful lot of reasons why that might be. That could be based on the time scale that they're looking at. That could be based on whether the person may or may not have been wearing the same clothing. So the FBI will be collating all tips that come into authorities. CCTV continues to be combed through, but they say that the incident took place inside the building. Those were the flash.
Welcome in, everybody.
Yeah, and I think, one point of
thank you for joining us
right
on X. We have about 1,700 people on X watching.
Students, anyone at Brown University, is they want more information, obviously, about this.
And let me just pause this audio here. So there is still an active shooter at large in the area of Brown University. 2 killed and 8 others shot at Brown University. Students remain locked in their dorms and classrooms as police are searching for an active shooter, described as a man dressed in black. The 8 injured victims are in critical condition. Here's what we know so far. Hundreds of police officers swarmed the streets near Brown University late Saturday, knocking on doors and shining flashlights into parked cars in search for a gunman who opened fire on students at the campus building, killing 2 people and injuring 9 more before escaping onto the streets of Rhode Island's capital city. Hours after the attack, which began during the final exam review sessions of large economic classes, much of Providence, Rhode Island remains on edge, with restaurants and stores closed early, and residents are urged to stay behind locked doors at this time as they stretch this search stretches into the night. Let's see. Mayor Smiley just ended his news conference, promised to provide more updates as foreign officials search for the gunman. Every minute matters. This is a quote from Mayor Smiley. Every minute matters. We know every minute matters. Mayor Smiley said that the outer doors of the engineer building were unlocked at the time of the shooting. While authorities don't have video of the gunman entering and moving through the building, the mayor said they are hopeful they find some footage. Okay, that is the latest right now. We'll go back to the feed here.
The governor there saying that he's spoken to not just the FBI Director Kash Patel, but also to President Trump. The governor saying that state resources are available in the hunt for this suspect, which of course I'm sure will be very much appreciated. But this has the support of the White House and an absolute resolve to catch the person who they think could be responsible, but they don't yet know who that person is.
So, all right, let's go to a feed direct from Providence, Rhode Island. This is, let's see. I'm going to pop a different feed here. Let's go around. Let's see what's going on. We have WNBC 10 out of Boston. This is in Rhode Island. Let's see this.
It doesn't just affect the university. That's, of course, first and foremost, given where it occurred. But beyond that, there's a residential community here that is in a shelter-in-place situation and very much is on high alert this evening.
Malcolm Johnson reporting live for us on the campus of Brown University. Let's pick up where Malcolm left off, because the broader Providence community is really wrapped up in this. There is hardly a distinguishable line between the campus and the residential area of East Providence. Certainly, I spoke to someone today who lives 2 miles away from where their shooting occurred, and they are firmly locked down and checking the cameras around their property on a regular basis, because this has really enveloped the entire city.
Okay, there's a tip line.
There's a tip line. Only 2 seconds.
Let me bring this feed up here. There's a tip line that you can call if you know anything about the incident that's happened at Brown University. Hang on 1 second. Let me get that live feed up for you here.
Brown University students in
there is, I'm going to go back here. There is a tip line, 401-272-3121. That's the Providence Police Department tip line. Let me just fast forward here. Oh, you're welcome. All right, let's go back to some other live feed. Oh, hang on.
A victim may have seen a camouflage mask. We have been hearing mask all day, but that just kind of confirmed it right there. So Patrice, this video is key. You know,
Yes, it is.
and it's when you think
Okay,
about it,
it looks like
about it, right? I mean, we've been covering.
Looks like students are being shuttled out of that area. I can see this on the BBC feed, so they must be. Let me turn this back
About
up.
that person, except for the video that you're about to see.
Could you
And that
repeat,
video,
Dan, could you repeat what you said at the beginning? Because we had a technical problem here. I was asking you, why did they think that guy is the person who did the shooting?
oh, sorry. So Patrice is asking, why do they think that guy is the guy who did the shooting? Well, you can answer that too. I think it's the black clothing, right?
Black clothing. People saw him leaving on the Hope side of the Barris and Holly building. So they're putting 2 and 2 together. But of course, they're going to rely on any inside video as well.
Yeah, they didn't see a gun in that video. Patrice, I'm not sure where I got cut off, so I don't want to go blabber on and on, but I want to give you the facts. I asked, did they see a gun in the video? No. Can they tell us what kind of gun he used based on the bullets that were retrieved from the victims? They know what kind of gun it is, but they don't want to tell us. So he's walking away down Hope Street. I don't know if he's running. I think they said walking, not running. That he was all dressed in black, and that's why they believe this is the suspect. I don't know if you heard about the part about the mask, Patrice. They can't see the camouflage mask. That's based on what victims told police. So, and again, you go back to the inside the video, inside the hallway. You know, I mean, was he so calculated? Did he realize there weren't camera? I don't know. But they're going to go through that video. So that's why they think it's this person, Patrice. And I'll tell you right now, that's the only thing they've got right now.
Yeah, Dan and Aaron, I want you to hang back there because what also stood out to me during this press conference when they were listing some new details, one of the things they mentioned was they believed the shooter was in his 30s, which is obviously not the typical college-age student. Did you guys read into that? And do you think we're going to see some of that play out in the video that might give the appearance, at least, of an older person in the building?
Right. Aaron doesn't have an earpiece, so Emily's asking about why they thought that the shooter could be in his 30s. I think Steph Machado from the Globe asked that question. I don't know how you determine somebody in black clothing is. I don't know how.
Well, alongside everything that they've been doing behind the scenes, they've been talking to witnesses, students that were inside at the time of the shooting, because they had kids barricaded in there and they're sheltering in place for now 6 hours. So they've been able to talk to folks.
And I think we need to go back also to the human angle of this, because we're so caught up in finding the suspect. But I want you to think about this, and I hope to get through this without emotion. These kids were in a classroom, likely taking a final. We've all been there. And there's so many people watching right now whose kids are taking finals, and all they want to do is to get home safely. These kids are just taking finals. And according to police, the suspect walked in and just opened fire. Walked and escaped into the night. And 2 kids, they're at Brown. They're doing well. They just wanted to finish their exams so they could go home and see mom and dad. And now mom and dad are flying in or driving in to identify their bodies. And I think you can't get lost in that. So anyways, I think that's important, Patrice and Emily, that we realize that, and again, now we also know why the door was open and why anyone could go in. And
let me read this report from a student that was taken earlier today. It says, let's see, a freshman that was evacuating from the building near the scene of Brown University at around 5 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. I started seeing things popping up on X and in my social media circles around 4:30-ish, maybe 4:45. She said that she was with 3 friends studying their final exams in a small room when they heard about the shooting. Let's see. She said there's a video here, and it says in the video which she filmed, the police officer could be heard asking, "Did you hear anything? Did you see anything?" And they responded, "No." Police appeared to usher them outside and told them to go, but it wasn't clear where they were supposed to go. They went into a different building to shelter with the other students. She says, "We really didn't think about this seriously until we saw more messages and saw people running outside. We saw tons of cop lights, and then we knew." The group said that they were not sure if they heard shots. They received an alert about the incident while they were studying in a room, and they barricaded the door with a table and turned off the lights. They said they were scared for their lives. This very much puts in perspective how you need to value your life, because you'd think nothing would happen here. It's Brown, she said. And we're going home next week. Finals are almost over, but there are 2 people dead now on Christmas time, and it's just very much heartbreaking to see and hard to process. All right, let's go back to the live feed here. Thank you for being here, everybody. I have about 2,100 people on X watching, about 200 on YouTube. If you can smash that like button, come on, join us on YouTube. You can find me here on LTL Media if you want to join the chat. Okay, let's go back to the live feed here from Boston 10.
How does this happen, and how does he walk into the night?
When you think about the residences and the businesses in that, little hub of Hope Street, Thayer Street,
Yeah.
someone's got to have something. And police are saying, hey, if you have something, give it to us.
Yeah,
because that's
check
gonna
all
make
your
Looks like there
cameras.
may
check
be another
video cameras.
press conference coming
As we
soon.
leave you here from the Brook Street Fire Station, where we should tell our people that the mayor says he's going to have another news conference here before the end of the night. So we'll prepare for that. We'll bring it to you live.
Okay, hang on. We have some witnesses talking. Let's pull BBC back up. Hang on here. Let me get the live feed for you all. We have a witness speaking right now. Here we
I was
go.
confused what happened, so I got out the car. I ran down to the scenery or whatever, and I saw a person on the ground, and it really shocked me. And they were like getting CPR and stuff. So I was asking the Brown University students of what happened, and they were telling me that there was an active shooter, but I couldn't, get any like I didn't know what the truth was. So it was like so hard to believe because like what happens in the rally, I could probably just pick up the car and take it down the street, but I don't know. It's kind of risky, but. Yeah, I'm probably some fireman came up to me and said I'll probably be stuck here till morning, which is kind of crazy. So worst case scenario, I'll probably come back in the morning.
Yeah, hearing there from some of the people who were near the scene when that shooting happened in Providence, Rhode Island. We've been looking there, and you can see on your screen an aerial shot of some of the people beginning to emerge from the buildings and businesses in the area. That's around the Thayer Street area, we believe. Where there was a lockdown in place, and now people beginning to emerge, boarding some of those buses and then making their way out of the area. And as those people clear, that will definitely make that search for the suspect a bit easier as well. But again, this is still an area where there's an active search taking place, and many students still under lockdown.
Remember going to Alston Beat on Thayer and just going down there and picking up my Doc Martens, and
the president called for
shopping
prayers
that area.
for the victims.
I used to hang down
at
at
shooting at Brown University
there a lot. I used to go to all the punk rock shows down there, the food, all the record stores, Lunacy. I remember going to Lunacy and getting my piercings there.
For those that were very badly hurt, it looks like.
Welcome.
And we'll inform you later as to what's happening, but it's a shame. It's a shame. Just pray. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're watching BBC News. That breaking news there in Rhode Island on the campus of Brown University, a mass shooting. 9 people now we know injured, 2 people dead in that shooting. Both of the dead in this case confirmed now to be students at Brown University.
We have another.
One thing to mention, we heard from authorities that we are expecting to get at least a short video clip of the suspect in this shooting. That will be released shortly. As soon as we get that, we'll obviously bring that to you. It will hopefully provide the public with some more details about what they might be looking for in terms of the suspect. But right now, very few details known. We know it's a man potentially in his 30s, but that fact hasn't yet been confirmed by authorities, wearing dark clothing, either black or gray, who left a building on campus after that shooting. And right now, as you can see from those live pictures from Providence, that search for the suspect very much still happening at this hour on the ground. We know.
All right, let's go live on the ground. I'm going to switch the feed. And this is usually what I do when I cover these. We'll go back and forth to different feeds.
Into the facilities now.
Here we go.
This Providence Police Department van is carrying several students that are coming from several different parts of campus. We spoke to one student that came from the library, another student that came from a grocery store, and now we have all of these students again arriving to their first real safe place since that first text message came in to run, hide, and fight. Now, we've been speaking to some of the students as they've arrived here at the athletic center, and relief is one of the words that they're feeling, but also they can't really articulate how it is they're feeling because of all of the unknowns about this situation. The fact that there is still a gunman out on the loose right now, the fact that they've lost.
And we'll try to stay
two
with
of
this
their
as long as we can
classmates,
tonight.
and several others are still in the hospital right now fighting for their lives. Just those facts in and of itself have made this such an untenable situation, an indescribable situation. I talked with one student who's from Florida. She said she didn't live far from Parkland. She remembers that Valentine's Day when those students lost their lives and the effects that it had on those students for the years and years to come. And it's hard to kind of understand or really realize that this is their new reality here at campus, that now they are those students that will have to live with the memories of experiencing such a traumatic event in what's supposed to be one of the best years of their lives. And we also spoke with a teacher who was here in the gym. So what you're seeing right now is the fitness center here at Brown University. And on the second floor is a state-of-the-art gym. And she's talked about how the students really came together to protect themselves and to also shelter in place. She talked to us about how they had made sure that they set themselves up so that the doors were locked. She talked about the morale that they had sustained within the room, making sure that they were calm, but also taking the situation seriously. And I've experienced this just being a student and seeing those text messages come in. And initially you don't want to take it seriously because you don't want to believe that this could happen to your university. But then once the reality started to set in, they said that they really did take this seriously. They heeded the warnings and they made sure they did everything possible to not only protect themselves, but to protect each other and make sure that everyone that was around them during that time felt secure and safe in that moment. So again, we're still seeing many, many students start to arrive here to what could be possibly considered one of the safest places on campus, just given the sheer amount of first responders, police, fire, and also all of the nonprofits that are here just to make sure that the students are well taken care of.
And you are on Hope Street. It looks so eerie to see this scene, to not see students walking around, because you see kids up there all hours of the day and night. And tonight it is just police lights.
Yeah, it's Saturday night and it's in the heart, essentially, of Providence. Brown University is kind of its own little city because all of the university is kind of set up in all of these different buildings throughout the city of the east side of Providence. And so on a Saturday night like this, you're a couple weeks away from the end of the semester. These students could have been doing everything from studying, taking exams, preparing for their finals, but also having a good time, you know, enjoying those last few weeks that they have before the holiday break. And to think that now they've spent the last few hours before the last couple of weeks of their semester in lockdown. And now all of them have essentially gathered in the athletic center to shelter in place with one another. And one of the things I also want to mention before I bring it back to you guys. So we know that initially this was the reunification center. It was this fitness center. They've now moved it to the larger athletic department. So a much bigger building just to withstand all of the kids that are going to be coming by.
All right, Lana Falk at the Reunification Center. We will check back in with you shortly. And, you know, she talks about student life and how much has changed in an instant today. And you think about not just on the Brown University campus,
You know, I don't know
in the greater Providence community at large.
if you're watching from out of state and you're not familiar with Brown. I mean, I'll just show you how congested that area is Brown University here. I mean, it is very, very congested in and around. It's, you know, very close to the heart of the city. You know, Providence is just here, and just on the other side of the river is where Brown University is, in this area here. So it's very, very, very congested. Lots of tight places, lots of places that you can hide. Absolutely tragic. Let's go back to this feed here. If you're just coming in, just to give you a quick update here, there's been a shooting at Brown University around 4:30 this afternoon. At least 2 students were killed, 9 people were injured when the shooter opened fire in Brown University. Brown University is in Providence, Rhode Island. It's a private Ivy League research university. And there is still an active shooter in the area. And you can see the tip line that's down below and the tip line goes right to the Providence Police Department, and that's 401-272-3121 if you have any information leading up to catching this suspect or this situation. Let me go back to the live feed here in Providence.
Few police officers, no more ambulances, no fire trucks even. We just saw a fire truck leave. To the right of this street here, of this sidewalk,
Thank you for
the
being here.
engineering building in question. That's where it's believed this shooting all started. Now, what we've seen, though, here down these streets, again, this is a residential area. We're not in the center of Brown's campus. What we've seen are crews wearing tactical gear, holding ARs, walking, maybe about a dozen each in each group, walking down these streets, looking for something, looking for evidence, a person, whatever it may be. I saw them just 10 minutes ago. They came over here to this house right here where the tape is. They were looking in these bushes. And when I say looking, they weren't just going bush to bush. They were putting their hands into the dirt too, trying to find something that can lead them closer to an answer as to who exactly is behind all of this. Again, we're here at Hope and Waterman Street. It's not as active as it was when we first came on the air, of course, but still a sense of urgency in the air, guys.
All right, John, thanks. Once again, stay safe out there. Yeah, I mean, John is obviously in the heart of where this happened, seeing the officers in the tactical gear as they search and comb through just all the little tiny crevices of the east side to hopefully find this person. Meanwhile, downtown Providence, we've still got some events going on, as you were just talking about, Patrice. NBC 10's Mike Cerullo joins us live from outside the AMP to give us a look of what it looks like out there.
Yeah, well, we're expecting this concert at the AMP to end in the next maybe half hour, 45 minutes or so. Right now, I want to give you a look. Police seem to be ramping up their presence just a little bit as they brace for this influx of people.
I mean, that's what you mean. I mean, you have this active shooter in and around this area. This puts a strain on events that are happening. Now, police presence has to be beefed up around here.
All around this entire neighborhood. Now, inside the AMP, there's the concert going on. People have been in fairly good spirits going in. Some have now learned exactly what has happened at Brown University.
Oh, wow.
They're kind of digesting that news in addition to trying to enjoy the concert at the moment. But again, police in this area bracing for that influx of people to come out. We can see officers right in front of the AMP. And
Could be very true.
A couple blocks away from in my eye line as well. Officers at points have escorted people to their cars that have left the concert a little bit earlier. You can see a couple people coming out, but not quite that influx at the moment just yet. So other places in Providence, PPAC is also bracing for those people to come out. The Providence Place Mall.
You got to think about
early,
clubs.
we learned, as a result of this, as police went to
There's a lot of clubs, you know, in and around that area too. Bars and clubs,
some of the
restaurants.
people who were turned away at the mall. That's what security had told them. And some of the hotels in this area, the Marriott,
You're welcome.
right
Thanks for being
nearby,
here.
has decided to increase their security protocols, at least for tonight. This is a very happening area in Providence. Obviously, it's downtown. It's about 8 minutes away from where that scene is, right around Brown University. But right now, it's eerie and it's quiet. And the action is happening inside the AMP. But aside from the law enforcement presence and a couple cars driving by, it's definitely a noticeable quiet around here compared to what it normally is in this section of Providence. Definitely a strange feeling in the air as people try and enjoy their nights at the concert. I've spoken to a lot of people who were coming out, some leaving early, having to go back to Connecticut, Massachusetts, wherever they came from to enjoy this Christmas-themed concert. Again, we're right before the holidays, and people are trying to digest this tragedy as they try and enjoy this concert as well. But we'll be out here tonight as fans get out, but we'll toss it back to you.
A couple of questions for you, Mike. It looks like the traffic is moving pretty freely there. Also, I'm just texting with my husband who just left the Providence Performing Arts Center where the Boston Pops were performing tonight. And Keith Lockhart, the conductor, acknowledged.
I'm just going to switch feeds real quick. We're going to go back to the BBC. And thank you for being here. We are following this active shooter situation in Providence, Rhode Island, near Brown University. There is an active shooter at large still. Reports said that shooting was in and around about 4:30 this afternoon. That's when I started seeing some things pop up on my social media. If you know anything, or you know where this shooter may be, or who the shooter may, how they are involved in this, there's a number down at below the screen that goes right to the Providence tip line, and that's 401-272-3121. And we'll go to the BBC. Let's check this feed real quick.
Or going to the movies, whatever you do at the mall on a Saturday night. They all left. And so, everyone in the city really feels like they're sort of holding their breath, waiting for news.
Yeah, holding their breath and hoping that obviously that suspect will be located soon. Steph Machado with the Boston Globe, thank you so much for all of your reporting tonight. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so as we mentioned, and you can see those live images there, many hundreds of police officers still looking for the shooter in this case. We'll bring you updates as soon as we have them. Stay with us on BBC News.
That while it is the case that the shelter in place remains in effect for the broader Brown community, that includes campus and the neighborhoods surrounding
video
the
from
campus,
earlier.
we are doing everything we can, and we've been receiving tremendous assistance from our partners in law enforcement. The governor, under his leadership with the state police, has been terrific. The FBI, the ATF, and many communities around Rhode Island have assisted. There are over 400 officers currently in the area assisting with both the investigation and to ensure the safety of the Providence community. Additionally, Providence Fire has been deployed to venues of assembly. We know that this is a busy time. It's a Saturday night in the holiday season, and so you may see firefighters at the mall, at PPAC, at Roger Williams Park, and we don't want anyone to be concerned that there are any issues, but rather we want folks who are out in the community tonight to see a person in a position of authority and to feel safe in our community.
If y'all can do me a favor, if you can share this stream or retweet it on X. I have about 2,600 people on X watching. It's very important to get people in here and get active updates. If you're in and around that area, retweet this. I would love that. And if you're watching me on YouTube, you can find me on YouTube at LTL Media. Come join our chat here if you'd like to chat along. And please send this stream out as well, too. So as of right now, there is still an active shooter at large in and around the Brown University area. There is about 400 law enforcement, active law enforcement in and around that area working this case. Students are told to shelter in place. And that's all we really have right now. I'm going to try to stay with this as long as we can. I'm going to go back to this press conference that was earlier. This is from Mayor Smiley.
Please give us a call. At this time, I'd like to turn the mic over to our Governor, Dan McKee, who's been in touch with federal, state partners and has been a tremendous assistance to us here in Providence throughout the evening. Governor?
Hey, Mayor, and thank you for your leadership and all your entire team. And our job right now is to support your team. And
the governor.
Just that. All our state resources are available, not only to the mayor, but also Brown University, which our hearts go out to Brown University.
Governor McKean.
I have had calls along with the mayor, with the FBI director, Patel, who's offered assistance to us as well, a direct assistance. I just received a call from the President Trump as well, expressing the same type of urgency and the same type of offers to respond to us in a way that we, one, keep people safe, but also two, we're going to make sure that we catch the individual that brought so much suffering to so many people. And so with that, I would just say that we're going to continue to work together. State police is on board. We know that there's going to be needed for some counseling strategies, so we've already activated that through our health department. And we'll make sure that we take the lead from the mayor and then provide all the assistance we possibly can along with your lead as well, President Paxton. So with that, I'll give the mic back to you.
Thank you, Governor. Now we'll introduce Brown University President Christine Paxson. Brown PD was the first to respond and has been an incredible partner, and we have two priorities right now as a community. One, to bring the individual responsible to justice, and two, to pray for the full recovery of those affected. The Brown community's heart is breaking and Providence's heart is breaking along with it. We're a week and a half away from Christmas, and all of us are getting calls from concerned families, parents, employees, relatives. And so, President, we just want you to know that Providence and Brown stand together today, tomorrow, and in the months ahead. Please.
Thank you. Yes, this is the day that one hopes never happens, and it has. I really appreciate everything that the local law enforcement and everybody is doing to help find this person, make sure that we can be safe as a community. Our focus right now is on supporting the families who have been affected by this, the families of the 2 students who sadly lost their lives today, as well as the 8, now 9 students who are in the hospital. We've been in touch with their families. I will talk to them soon. But, you know, we will come together as a community and we'll get through this. Currently, the students are still all in lockdown, as are people in the area. And hopefully we can get them back to their dorms and feeling safe and secure as soon as possible. But thank you for everything you're doing now.
She's going to get grilled.
We'll take questions for law enforcement personnel, anyone who's here today and share as much information as we can at this time.
Can we,
Dan.
Dan J from Channel 10, Mayor, you know, can you talk a little bit about what we're going to see in this video? Or can
Commander?
Chief Oates?
We're going to ask Commander O'Hara to answer that question.
Sure. What you're going to see is a video from the building where this incident took place, 184 Hope Street. It's
184
we believe
Hope.
is the suspect leaving that area, walking on Hope Street and taking a right on Waterman towards the water. He's going to be wearing dark clothing. You're not going to be able to see his face. Dark gray or black clothing. And some of the witnesses have also told us that he may have been wearing a camouflage gray mask. That is unconfirmed. But if anybody should recognize this person in any way, seen him earlier, recognize his gait, obviously we want to know about that as soon as possible.
You had said, or somebody had said, and I want to make sure we're correct in reporting this, that he may have walked out of a building. And I'm wondering, how did he get access to the building? And is there video from inside the building?
That I don't have the answer if there's video inside that building.
All right,
that depicts
Declan,
him.
great.
There is video inside
Good
that
to see
building.
you, man.
However, I haven't seen him on.
Okay,
video
it's
inside
good
that
to see you,
building.
brother.
And he
I'm
did
glad
walk
you're
out of
okay.
the building.
I got worried about all you guys down there.
So he was in the building.
Good to
We don't
see
have
you.
video of him in the building.
We
Awesome.
haven't recognized him in the video yet. We do see some video from inside the building of a commotion. Clearly,
Good to
students
see
are
you.
running. However, we don't have the from the video that I've seen so far. We don't have the.
I was worried about you guys.
Is there any reason to believe this is international terrorism, or is this just some disgruntled
That we don't know yet.
a disgruntled student that just came in to shoot up because he was upset about final exams or something like that?
We're not sure.
Amanda, have you been getting tips since the last briefing?
Yes, some tips have been coming in, and we have been running them down.
Declan, have you guys heard anything? Do you know anybody in and around the area at Brown? What are they saying? If you know, let me know. Let us know in the chat. All right, we're going to go back here.
Do you think, do you have a better idea than we did just 3 hours ago, since at least now you have a visual image?
Yes, a little bit better, but we're still.
Let's hope.
We're still not there yet, John.
Has law enforcement
Ian.
done inside the building?
Ian first.
Commander, has law enforcement done any building by building search of the area, surrounding area?
Yes, we have. We've gone through some buildings. We've made sure that students that were barricaded themselves in were safe. We removed them, and they're now in a reunification center.
How far has that search gone into the residential area around Brown?
It's gone to all the buildings that we think that were affected by it. Any student that called us and said that they were barricaded and they didn't feel safe, those are the buildings that we checked.
So Declan's at Providence College, and he's a student up there, and he said they got locked down here, but nothing new. We're still only hearing what you guys are. Okay. All right. Got you, brother. Well, I'm glad that you're safe.
All of the victims, including the 2 that.
Good aerial footage. All right, let me go up and see
The last
CBS.
one who came in recently, I'm not sure.
Okay.
There was a question over here.
There was blood stains on the sidewalk of Waterman with clothing. Were all the shots done within the building, or were they shot outside?
Well, the incident took place inside the building.
Inside,
Yes.
there were bloodstains and clothing outside. Can you say
Where in the building did it happen?
It happened inside of a classroom.
They're not live. Oh, let me
First
see.
floor.
Has the weapon been found? If it wasn't in the video?
No, it hasn't.
Have you talked to any of the
Sorry,
victims?
Steph.
Can you walk us through what you now know about the timeline of events? What time did the suspect walk into the building and how quickly did he begin shooting? Did he go straight for the classroom? And was it the students who were taking the finals?
I don't know what the students were doing in this classroom. However, I don't also know how he entered the building that we're working on.
Okay.
Thank you so much for putting the tip line up. Thank you.
The suspect of college age, does he seem in the video?
He could be in his 30s, but we're not positive. That's our first.
So it
that's our
does.
first
Seems like an older
Sir,
person,
can
older
you speak
male.
to the type of presence from the federal government that's on the ground right now, and what type of personnel do you expect in the coming days, specifically tomorrow?
So right now we're working with ATF and the FBI who are present right now. Those are the federal agents that we're working with.
Deputy Chief, based on the bullets, Deputy Chief, do we know what kind of gun?
We don't have the gun identified yet, no.
What type of activity are they engaged in? Are they doing data collection, evidence collection?
Data collection, evidence collection, and video collection.
Go ahead.
How many other people were inside the classroom?
That I'm not sure of. I don't know how many students were in there.
President Paxton, could you maybe answer some of the questions about the Brown students? What was that class there for? Was it a
She gets
final
grilled
exam? You're the president, you must know.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't?
I don't know that.
Okay.
Sir, you had a question?
Yes.
Go.
So have the shelter in place orders or evacuation spread to other parts of the city? Because we've heard that happen at the moment.
No, they have not. The shelter in place has not changed. It remains in effect for the Brown campus and the surrounding neighborhood. City of Providence, you know, if you live near Brown, that's where the shelter in place is in effect. It is not in effect in other neighborhoods because we have no reason to believe that there is any particular threat beyond the campus area at this time. As I mentioned at the press briefing before this, I'll reiterate right now. In this day and age, there is a lot of misinformation that can spread as it pertains to official updates regarding the shelter in place or any future announcements. Please follow the City of Providence official social media channels. We've also put out
The president of the university was asked a question from the reporter. Did you know what was going on in that classroom? And she said, no, I had no idea. You are the president of the university. Yeah, really. Are they in the dark? Seriously. How do you not know what's going on in your university? How do you not know what's going on across your campus?
So we have all of the above. We have conveyed it through the media. We've conveyed it through our official social media channels. We've pushed it out through our 311 system, which is the city service system. We've been in touch with our city council leaders throughout the neighborhood, including our councilman, John Gonsalves, from this neighborhood, who have their own distribution channels through newsletters and such. And for all of you who are Rhode Islanders, you know this is a close-knit community. That is our strength, particularly in this moment. We are all in touch with our neighbors. We are all in touch with our loved ones at this moment, and we are sharing information as directly and honestly as we can. And we will continue to push out updates through those same various channels. Please, in the way back.
Hi. Is there any indication of when students were sheltering in place in public campus buildings when they would be allowed to at least leave and go to those reunification sites?
There is no notification about when that might end because we will make that announcement when we feel like it is safe to do so. And so we don't have a timeline on that, and nor should we have a timeline on that. Safety is the primary concern right now, and bringing the responsible individual to justice is our top priority.
Is it your belief that there's just one suspect or people helping him? And if people are helping him, Deputy, what is your message to people that might be aiding, because it's been 6 hours and, no one knows.
He's unidentified, so we don't know if people may be helping him or not at this point.
But if you assume that, what's your message to anyone that may know who he is or helping him or hiding?
They know who he is. Please call us as soon as possible.
Dan and Steph.
I ask this with all due respect, Deputy Chief, just so I'm trying to process this so we can bring this person to justice. He was in the building, but we don't have video of him in the building, or we have video, we just don't know if it's him. Do you think that he went into a bathroom, got dressed, and then came out? And secondly, could the president of the university address, does anybody have access to that building? I mean, you can't go in a building without a pass key anywhere. So
I'll take both of those. As has been said, and we'll say again, the video that we have and the video that we will be sharing when we conclude this
Why is he
update
taking
is of the suspect leaving the building. We are combing through lots of video, both on campus, through private cameras. Providence Police, with the great assistance from our federal partners and others, is combing through any video we can find. And again, to the community, if you have some of those Ring cameras or other video that you think might be relevant, please call us and share it with us. We do not at this time have video that we have seen of the individual coming into the building or moving throughout the building, but that doesn't mean that we will not discover it. We are actively working this investigation as we speak. It has been a priority for us to give updates when we have them. That's why we're here right now. When we have more information, we will share it. As was reported at the earlier press conference from the provost, because there were exams taking place, the outer doors of the building were unlocked. There were sure to be doors inside the building that were locked and that require badge access, but the outer doors were unlocked because it was 4 o'clock while exams were taking place. That was reported earlier. That remains true now. Please, Steph.
Is there any, do you have any reason to believe that the shooter is still in the area?
We don't know.
President Paxton,
Yeah.
could you talk directly to the students? They've been on lockdown. What about meals? What if someone has a medical emergency?
Right.
If you could talk directly to the students right now
President, if you could walk behind the stand.
that have been in.
I mean, I know the students are anxious, and I know they're in very constant communication with loved ones and parents through social media and on their phones. If we hear that students need support, if they have a medical issue or something like that, we will address it. Our major priority right now is for their safety.
President Paxton, could you confirm that several of the victims were on Wynn Municipal Cross Street?
I cannot confirm that.
President, how are you doing today? Processing all this?
Yeah, it's hard to process. I was on a plane to DC when it happened and flew right back, and I'm catching up right now.
President, with all due respect, 6 hours after the shooting, and you said you don't know what was going on in that classroom? How does that happen? Were they taking an exam? Were they meeting for a club?
I don't know. I don't know.
6 hours later, you're the president, and you don't know.
I do not know.
Mayor, do
That's
they
kind
have
of
any
concerning.
showcasing as evidence?
It's a little shocking.
Determinations that made with this
You're run away from the mic.
Yes, there's shell casings, but we're not going to release
are.
any specific information about that type of evidence.
As more time goes by, do you think that without having the identity of the suspect, do you think that aids in his ability to get further away from law enforcement?
As I mentioned, we've got over 400 officers on the ground right now. Every minute matters. We know every minute matters. And other than the people you see standing behind you, everyone else right now is out on the streets working hard to bring this individual to justice and to bring some confidence and safety and security to our residents. And that's what all the people who should be doing that are focused on. We will continue to provide updates as they are available. We will continue to do regular briefings.
We have breaking news.
Hello, I'm Carl Naspin. Welcome to BBC News and our continuing coverage of that breaking story in Providence, Rhode Island, a shooting on the campus of the Ivy League University, Brown. 2 people confirmed to have died there, 9 now confirmed to have been injured there, 8 of them critically. This was a
Jeffrey, I
shooting
don't
that
know.
took place
Maybe
on the
official-
campus of Brown University
Brown. I
about
don't know.
5 hours ago. The suspect remains at large at this hour. Police and authorities there say the attacker was a male dressed all in black who fled on foot. These are all some live looks at the scene there in Providence, Rhode Island, where at this hour, students are still on lockdown. Large parts of the community around that campus are being told to stay indoors and lock their doors for their own safety. As we know, hundreds of police officers are combing the streets, looking at surveillance video, trying to track down the location of the suspected shooter in this case. Again, confirmed now, 2 people have been killed, 9 injured in that shooting. And we heard from the president of Brown University, Christine Paxson, moments ago, saying that all of those casualties are believed to be students at that university. Let's bring in our North America correspondent now, Sean Dilley, who's been tracking this story for us all night. And Sean, you were listening in as that press conference took place just moments ago. Walk us through some of the new details we learned there.
Yeah, I will do. And the bits that kind of stood out, because
Oh,
like
wow.
you,
Look at
Carl,
this.
I was sort of listening through. The key new bit of information is the fact there's a 9th person injured. Now, we learned a little bit about how that injury happened, not in specific detail, but
All right, I'm going to go to a different feed here. Welcome in, everybody. Let's see, let's go here.
Yeah, guys, we're close to the scene right now, and I've been mentioning that we've been seeing crews with tactical gears walking around. This one here just walked right by us. It is still a very active scene. What you're seeing right now is this is down Waterman Street, actually. But here, if we just come right back here, I want to show you a side view of this engineering building that we've been talking about all night. And you can see Providence Police, they have a truck set up, a crime scene truck. There's also other law enforcement authorities have their trucks here towards the left right now. And we've mentioned that we've seen throughout the evening law enforcement going through bushes around here.
What's up, Isaiah? How are you,
looking
man?
through windows, trying to find anything they can that will help lead them to the potential suspect here, guys.
Where is this person?
John, is
Crazy.
the traffic moving freely along that area now, or are the roads still blocked off?
Hi, Patrice. Well, right now, Waterman, where we're on right now, they actually just blocked it off again. Police have been opening some
interesting.
roads, closing others. But again, as we've been reporting all night, it's a ghost town out here. Very few people around here right now, outside of law enforcement, of course. It is a police state in Providence.
And John, you are out there right now as officers are roaming around in tactical gear. I know you mentioned just a short while ago they were looking in.
Yeah, thanks,
bushes,
Jim. Thanks for being
near
here.
you. What's it been like for you to be on the ground?
I actually was at work when this all was going down. I was trying to keep up with it as best as I could, and I knew right when I came home I wanted to cover this. And then I was, I found out that there was still an active shooter. This is important. People should know. I mean, I'm very close to this area, so people should know what's going on. So I wanted to get home and give everybody some coverage, some active coverage of what's going on. I'm going to go back to the live feed so we can hear what's going on. But it looks like there's some heavy activity down near Water Street in Providence right now, in and around this area of this active shooter.
Crews and law enforcement, I think you feel okay. Emily?
Yeah, we have learned that 400 police officers are on the scene
Wow,
right
Isaiah.
now. When you see them walking around, do they look like local officers, or are they ATF, FBI, state police, Rhode Island, Providence police?
Well,
Everybody.
that's actually a good point, Patrice, because inside of the engineering school, they won't let us bring our camera over by the entrance, but I was able to walk there and I looked inside. It was almost all FBI. Now, walking through the streets, those officers that we just showed
Real
you.
quick, I'm going to show you the building that they're talking about. This is the engineering building here at 189 or 184 Hope Street. This is where the said shooting did happen. Let me go back to the live feed.
Massive response.
And you had been texting with somebody earlier. Have you heard from that person again?
Yeah, you know what, Patrice, I actually just texted her a minute ago to ask her if she's in one of the buildings here, one of the Brown University buildings. She just texted me. I texted her at 10:42 and she responded saying that she is still in a medical
Steve says he
building.
lives 5 minutes
Of
from
course,
there.
she was
Wow.
told to
You seen
shelter
anything,
in
Steve?
place. And again,
Let us know.
for those that are just joining us live, this student who I've been texting, she told me that they actually took chairs and furniture in the room and pushed it up against the doors to ensure no one can get in. Patrice?
Okay. We're getting that video now. We're going to show you the video that here it is.
Oh, look
is
at
the
this.
person who they believe is the suspect in the shooting at Brown University. There you see him. Do you notice the walk? Do you recognize anything about this person? Wearing dark clothing. They think he was wearing camouflage mask, perhaps. He
Wow.
may be in his 30s. You can see his gait. You can see the way he's walking. You don't see a gun. That's when he came out of Hope Street, took a right on Waterman Street, and is walking toward Wayland Square. Do you know this person? Have you seen this person? Is there anything that you can help police with? They would like you to call them 401-272-3120. 2-1.
Really tough to make heads or tails of this because you're only seeing the back view of this person from a high angle. But
Right.
one of the things that does stand out to you upon viewing this initially is how casual,
Steve's in East
how
Providence.
casually this person is walking away after just shooting 11 people, killing 2 of them. I mean, obviously that's part of how they were likely able to slip under the radar at least long enough until law enforcement
see.
converged on the scene. But you can see the suspect walking away, again, Hope and Waterman Street, just kind of a somewhat brisk pace, but not in any apparent hurry, in casual winter clothes. That probably would.
Okay, real quick, I just want to let everybody know I'm looking at the active Twitter account for Providence Police, and this is an hour ago. So if you're in and around the Brown University area, there is still a shelter in place that remains in effect at the time for Brown University area of Providence. Please shelter in place or avoid the area until further notice. If you have any tips to what has happened or who this active shooter is that's still at large, you can call 401-272-3121, and that is the Providence Police tip line. All right, let's go back to the live feed here.
Rhode Island Hospital. It happened at the Barris and Holly Engineering Building on campus a little bit after 4 o'clock, Hope Street near Waterman Street, and that's exactly where he is right now. He is walking down Waterman Street. Do you recognize him? Do you recognize the clothing, the gate, anything about this?
Yeah,
person?
I mean,
I
that's
think he may
very,
be in his 30s, but
I was just going to say that earlier, you know, looking at the map, that area, that 95 is very close to that area. I mean, it's like 3 or 4 or 5 blocks away. And that is very true. Let's go back to the feed here.
That person in the video.
So this is brand new video. It's surveillance video that we just got from Providence Police. This is the one clue they have about who this person could possibly be. Now, there is some video from inside the Barris and Holly Engineering Building at Brown University from the first floor where this shooting took place. But so far, all they can identify in that video is the students running. They have not yet identified this suspect. This is the video we have. We hope we'll be getting more, but they want you to look at him. Dark clothing, maybe in his 30s, looks like he might have hat on or dark hair. His gait is interesting, and that might be the one clue that might tip you off that you might know somebody. And the police would like you
Large
to call
guy,
them.
too.
Phone number
Probably
is 401-272
30, 250.
3121 401-272 3121.
We're also getting new information that there is going to be another press conference happening
Okay.
in about 20 minutes. Right
Oh,
now,
great.
they're telling us around 11:15 they will be having another press conference. We will bring it to you live during our 11 o'clock newscast. Hopefully some new information, which would be great since the other one just wrapped up maybe just about an hour ago. So to have some new information on top of this video that was finally just released to us.
Don't
will
want to pick a
hopefully
same
bring
military.
some new
It's
leads to police
military.
and help them track
Could be
this
someone from the
suspect down
military.
as it does approach the
Ex-military.
midnight hour, and we're getting close to the what becomes the second day of this investigation, this manhunt to find this killer who shot 11 people at Brown University, 2 of them dead tonight.
Now, as this man continues to walk down Waterman Street, looks like
Dixie
he's walking
says,
toward Wayland Square. A lot of
definitely
businesses down there.
makes them think
So
he's
businesses,
local, the way he
check
walks.
your surveillance cameras. People who live in the area, check your Ring cameras and see if you see something. I'm sure that's one of the reasons that John Perrick saw the video or had video of those officers walking down the street. They're probably walking down and seeing what kind of information they can have, what kind of video they have. But at this point,
Yeah,
this
it doesn't
is
look
all
like he
we
has
have
a
at this point. That's the person they suspect
instep kind of
being the mass
walk.
shooter at Brown
Knees are
University
tight
today.
together.
It's really interesting the more and more we loop this video, not to be redundant here, but I think this is incredibly helpful that we're looping this video because you can see there's also like a stutter to his step almost. It is a unique gait. The more we see of it, kind of flinging his legs forward at points and then rolling the ankles rolling in right there. It is a unique gate that will hopefully bring about more leads.
And you
Not
are watching
Mike.
continuing coverage of
Mike is the
NBC
young
10
jerks.
as we
I'm
continue to
Brian.
cover the mass shooting at Brown University that has
But
left
thank you for
2
being here,
students
Deborah. I
dead and
appreciate
several
you.
others injured. Some are still in critical condition. at Rhode Island Hospital tonight.
Jeffrey thinks
all
it's
are
political.
students at Brown University.
Yeah,
And this has
oversized
completely
jacket could be.
disrupted the night here in Providence. And that's putting it lightly.
Yeah, knock
We've
knees.
seen
Yep,
mall
frumpy.
closures. The zoo is closed. The east side is basically shut down, as John Parrick called it, a police state.
And
Police
Roger
state
Williams
everywhere. We've
Zoo
seen
is
aerial
very
views
large.
of cruisers all over, armed officers with guns drawn on the
Not
streets of Providence.
sure of
And
the
that
activities
continues
at
tonight
night,
as they
but a
search
lot
for
of
the
people do
suspect.
congregate down in that
NBC 10
area.
yes, go
It's
ahead,
it's very disturbing. Here we're looking at the video again, but it's very disturbing too to know that there are still students that are holed up.
Okay, so we get the end of what, Saturday Night Live? Okay, let me go to, I don't know why that just happened, but let me go back to BBC right now until we can get that feedback. Here we go. This is live on the streets of
From us.
Providence.
So we decided to close all the doors and turn also the light off and
You're
hide
welcome.
under the desks and wait for the next notification.
I don't know why that just went to Saturday Night Live. But we'll wait here.
I also received a notification that the police wants to evacuate everyone so that they can search all the corners of the building to find the shooter because they believe that shooter is hidden in the engineering building.
Okay, we have
so
we go back to, sorry everybody, this is what we do. Flick back and forth to the streams. Here we go.
Brown University. The school president says the 2 killed are both students. 7 of the 9 hurt are said to be in critical condition.
Yes, the shooter is at large.
On lockdown as well as the surrounding neighborhoods. Students are being told to shelter
This is
in place on
live.
campus. A massive manhunt is underway as law enforcement comb campus and surrounding areas for any trace of the gunman. And just within the past 20 minutes or so, officials released this video believed to be of the shooter leaving the scene of the crime. You can see them taking a turn there onto the street. They're still working to identify who that could be
Excuse me.
and where they could be. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Amelia Fabiano.
It's a difficult night. I'm Glenn Jones. Let's give you a better idea of where this happened. Brown University's campus is a significant part of Providence, Rhode Island.
Be right
on
back,
the
guys.
east side of the city in the
Ooh.
College Hill neighborhood. The
Be right
shooting
back.
took place at the Barris and Holly Engineering and Physics building. That's off of Hope Street.
President Trump has been briefed on the shooting. He said this after arriving at the White House on Marine One.
All we can do right now is pray for the victims and for those that were very badly hurt, it looks like. And we'll inform you later as to what's happening, but it's a shame.
We have team coverage tonight from the Brown University campus, beginning with NBC 10's Erin Logan. She has the latest from law enforcement. Erin.
Glenn, just about 9:30 this evening, law enforcement, this mayor of the city of Providence, and all local officials gave a briefing, letting all of us know the latest details here. And as you mentioned, 2 of the students were killed. We didn't know earlier if they were students. That has since been confirmed. And 7 of the 8 people are students as well. Later in the night, they realized that there was a 9th person that was injured, but it's unclear if that person was a student. And earlier, like I said, there was a press conference. The mayor, very emotional, worrying for the people in the surrounding area, but hopeful that with some decent information that they received throughout the night, that they will indeed find and track down that shooter. They're asking people who may have video camera footage, doorbell cameras in the surrounding area here in Providence, in the Brown University campus area, to go through it and see if you may see something. I'm not sure if you guys had that video at the top of the
You're
show that
welcome.
was released. There is video of a person leaving the area where the shooting happened in the engineering building. They're unclear right now if there was footage of him inside the building. All you see is him leaving the building, dressed in dark gray or black. They believe that he is in his 30s. They have not tracked him down yet. And it's just a very intense situation here. Here's a look at the update that we got earlier this evening, just about an hour and a half ago. Shots fired inside a first-floor classroom at Brown University's Barris and Hawley Engineering Building just after 4 p.m. Saturday.
It's terrifying to know that someone we know and we love and that we're familiar with, that we see regularly, could be hurt.
The scene was intense. Local, state, and federal officials on every street corner, including the ATF and FBI, looking for the person responsible for killing 2 and injuring 9.
Our focus right now is on supporting the families who have been affected by this. We've been in touch with their families. I will talk to them soon. But, you know, we will come together as a community and we'll get through this.
At 9:30 Saturday night, Providence police sharing information about a video they've obtained showing a man leaving the Hope Street building where the shots were fired and taking a left onto Waterman. They're trying to locate any footage of the man inside the building. He's believed to be in his 30s, wearing dark gray or black clothing. There was no gun shown in the video.
We have no reason to believe that there is any particular threat beyond the campus.
You know, things you have to start asking now. Who could this person be? Was there any connection to the university? Is this like a past employee? Is this someone that lives in and around the neighborhood? Does this person have some type of agenda against the school or a student there? Or if, you know, maybe a faculty member. So those are the things that have to start going through your head. Is this person being supported in the area? Is he being hidden by, you know, a person or a group of people? Did someone assist him to get out of the area? So I'm sure a lot of these questions are being, you know, going through law enforcement heads as well and thinking all of this stuff. If you all can do me a favor, me look up. I got about 300 people on YouTube. If you can smash the like button, I would appreciate that. Share this stream. About 3,100 people watching on X. I appreciate you all being here. And my Facebook friends, about 12 just jumped on. If you can share this stream, please retweet this stream. That's all I ask. Retweet this stream, or you can come join us on YouTube at my home base here, and you can join the chat. If you live in and around this area, please make sure right now to shelter in place. There's an active shooter still at large, and you call the Providence Police tip line if you know any information leading up to catching the suspect or any information as to what happened. 272-3121. We'll go back to the live feed here.
I imagine these students are just stunned and traumatized after this.
I think many of these students still can't believe what took place today. A lot of the students were in lockdown for upwards of 6 hours. And that's really the sentiment that we've been getting from these young people, is that we didn't know exactly what was going to happen. Yes, they have practiced these drills, but when you're in a building that's adjacent or right next to where the shooting took place, and you don't know exactly where the shooter is, there is a real sense of panic that a young person.
I've been interviewed by Malcolm before, a
through.
couple times
And
actually.
that's kind of what was captured in the folks that we talked to today. Take a listen.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's no words.
Heartache for parents on Brown University, where an active shooter killed several people on campus.
My daughter was texting me, Dad, there's shooting is happening outside, you know, and we are scared, and we are in a higher floor, and people are banging on the doors, and it's like nothing on the news, no nothing. You just complete shock.
Dilshad Akalov's sophomore and senior daughters were studying in the library when the shots were fired.
We're happy that our kids are okay and they're safe, but we also it's like our hearts are sinking, have sank to. It's hard to describe with words what happened tonight.
Faculty providing safety for students in the Nelson Fitness Center, just blocks from where the shots were fired.
Staff members, went through the building to make sure that people got out of the pool, people got out of the locker room, they got out of all the other spaces so that we could be in the most secure one. Public safety locked the doors that we could not lock, and then we locked ourselves in, and we stayed there until an officer came and gave us some updates.
Yeah, so that was a staff member who was really just going to the gym on her weekend so she could get a workout in, and then was thrust into action immediately to help try and get young people throughout the entirety of the Nelson Fitness Center to go into their shelter in place. And so right now we have a number of students who have been brought here by shuttle who are going inside of this athletic center just behind me here, each of them being asked who they are to provide some identification and also tell them what year student they are as well. So that's law enforcement conducting those early investigations and then searching their bags and their belongings before they are admitted, each one of them walking out with a small wristband that we've been seeing on the young folks as they have been able to leave the premises here. They are not able to leave until they provide exactly where it is that they are going and allow for the folks who are overseeing things here to feel confident and comfortable with where they will be heading next. So this is very much an emergency situation as this suspect remains at large, but here in this one specific part of campus, there is a lot of safety within the student body because of the amount of law enforcement that we're seeing here. We're live tonight reporting at Brown University. I'm Malcolm Johnson, NBC 10 Boston.
10,000 students at that school. It's been a difficult day for all of them, Malcolm. Thank you. As the Brown University community mourns, messages of support are coming in from across the region. In a post on social media, Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey writes, quote, "My heart is with Brown University and the city of Providence, and I'm praying for everyone impacted by this tragic act of violence. Mass State Police are in close contact with Rhode Island officials, and I've been in touch with Governor Dan McKee to offer our full support and assistance."
Okay, let's get some perspective now on this massive response that we've seen from law enforcement to this scenes like this one in the past. We want to welcome in for.
All right, let me give. Oh, look at this, Todd McGee. Whoa, Todd.
McGee. Todd, I want to first start by asking you about that brand new video that we just got from officials that they released allegedly of this suspected shooter that you see taking a turn around the corner after the shooting. What key details in that video? I heard from my producer that you've seen it since it came out within the past 30 minutes or so. What are key details that you noticed about that video that stood out to you?
Well, again, this is the first opportunity that the general public has a chance to contribute to the manhunt. The video didn't give us much information. We saw a hooded, what appeared to be a male, traveling in a specific direction.
You're welcome, Debbie.
What will aid the investigators is in that direction of travel, lining up CCTV, ring doorbells from commercial properties, residential properties, to hopefully track the full, complete movement of the suspect. This information then, this is where our federal partners come in. The FBI has an incredible amount of resources, and they'll be able to put together not just a timeline, but a full direction of travel. And I'm confident in over the next 4 to 6 hours, and during the next set of press conferences, we'll be able to get more information and perhaps the face of this individual if he removed his face mask, which would allow the general public to identify a person that they might be more familiar with in the event that they cross paths with them.
And Todd, one more question for you here. This obviously is a very frightening situation for this school, for the surrounding community. What do you think is the most important thing for the public to understand right now as this suspect remains at large, but also while officers and investigators do work through the night here?
Well, you know, we understand that there's approximately 400 or more officers that have converged on this scene, and it's a multi-jurisdictional effort. But what the public can do are two things. One, stay inside, adhere to the guidance of the
If you know
state,
anything, call the
shelter in
number.
place. But also, this is the classic see something, say something. This is
Yep.
where law enforcement needs to partner with the community and really rely on the force multiplier effect of thousands of sets of eyes and ears within that community to
Videos,
hopefully bring
photos.
new leads and new information forward for law enforcement to investigate.
Okay, former Mass State Trooper Todd McGee, thank you. We do have a breaking update to get to here. We'll take that live now.
Updates or breaking news through the night. This will be our last update of the evening. We will absolutely share if there are important or impactful updates in the middle of the night. But at this time, we're expecting this to be the last update for now. Again, I'm joined by Governor Dan McKee, and the state's partnership and cooperation and assistance through this process has been invaluable, and I want to thank the governor for that. Also joined by members of the Providence City Council who have done an excellent job of keeping their constituents involved and informed through what an extraordinarily stressful night for everybody in the city of Providence and throughout the state of Rhode Island. Special acknowledgement and recognition to the councilman for this neighborhood, whose neighborhood is under a shelter in place right now, which is Councilman John Goncalves. Thank you, Councilman. At this time, we have no further update to provide in the status of our investigation and the search for the individual who is still at large. We have shared the image of the individual we believe to be the shooter. We know that there is not a clear shot of the face in what was provided, but we continue to canvass the neighborhood and the campus for additional video footage, still photography, and are interviewing witnesses. I mentioned earlier we are asking for help from the community in terms of tips or relevant information, and I want to thank the FBI who has set up a new website to allow for videos or photos to be uploaded. I'd like to share that with you at this time, and we'll provide it also after the fact. But the website address is fbi.gov/Brown University shooting. Again, that's
I have a special guest joining us in a second here.
We know that the telephone line doesn't allow, obviously, for the uploading of video or photographs. This website does allow for that, and our partnership with the FBI, which has been excellent throughout the evening, they quickly stood up this resource to allow us to comb through additional evidence or tips as they may come in. The Providence Police also has a specific tip line now for this incident. That phone number is 401-652-5767. Again, that's 401-652-5767. That's the Providence Police tip line specifically for this incident. Before I turn it over to the governor, I just want to speak to the shelter in place that remains in effect for the Brown campus. And
We just saw this gentleman on Boston 10. I want to welcome in the great Todd McGee. How are you doing tonight, Todd?
Hey, Brian, I'm glad you reached out. How's everything going?
I'm well. Very tragic situation going on in and around Brown University. We're getting an update here. Pretty much the same stuff that I'm hearing that, I just don't think they have too much information that's going on or any new updates that they can share. It's very interesting because I know that area. I've spent a lot of time down there when I was a kid in the 90s. Very tight, congested area. You look at the possibility of the highway only being blocks from that area, probably 4 or 5 blocks to get on to either side of 95. We saw what they think is an active, the active shooter that left that area on foot. What is what is the process that's going through right now? Are they probably combing security? Take us through this type of process, Todd.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got more than 400 officers that showed up in this this investigation, but specifically, you're going to have a team, most likely FBI resources, that are going to stitch through all of the CCTV. What's important about this? The video that was released shows a direction of travel. That will then allow them to, you think of an overhead image of a map. That will allow them to identify properties that may have CCTV if it's a commercial building, or a Ring doorbell if it's a residential building. And they'll capture that video, and they'll have the ability to stitch that information together and almost create a video that you would watch.
Like a timeline.
A timeline that'll help establish a timeline. So that's most important. Part of that process, if the individual took off his mask at some point to try and blend into the community, there's the first opportunity to hopefully get a face. Now, let's compare this to Luigi Mangione, the assassin of the United Healthcare worker. The original images that were released of him he was masked in every single image, but eventually we got still images of his face. I believe it was at a hotel or someplace where he was required to show identification. but there's the opportunity to get a good look at somebody. So hopefully they can mirror the same process that they did in that case and, put a face to this shooter.
Sure. If you're just joining us live here right now, I have retired Mass State Police and security consultant Todd McGee. Todd, so FBI comes in the area, Providence Police comes in the area. Are they going through their kind of combing the area for evidence? What type of things would they be looking for? Give us some updates. What they could be doing in the area right now.
Yeah, the investigation is going to be a layered investigation. It always is. They'll be looking for and capturing. They've already identified ballistics. What's important about that is the ATF is also there as a federal partner. The ATF has a robust library of all firearms. So if that firearm was purchased, whatever, it's in a database, and they'll be able to line up the striations in the rifling marks on the ballistics, the casings, whatever they have available, and that will lead them to identify at least the weapon system for starters, and then from there, hopefully, they can match it up to a gun owner or someone who may have purchased a firearm. That also, in conjunction with the digital CCTV footage that we talked about, that's going to be another team that's going through and watching video and putting that timeline together. Then, of course, you have another team of people that are going to be doing the interviews, eyewitness accounts. What did you see? Where were you in proximity to the shooting? What was your purpose here inside this building? It's still unclear if the students inside that classroom were actually taking an exam or were they studying. But nonetheless, what were the specifics about the occupants inside of the building and inside of the classroom? So all of the boots on the ground investigators will capture that information.
Yeah, it's really interesting too, and a lot of the people in the chat have been watching tonight. We're seeing kind of the loop video here of the gait of this gentleman's walk or this person's walk, and I don't even want to say gentleman. I'm sorry, but seeing that specific walk, it looks like there's a little bit of a limp. This could be something that's very telling to someone that's watching. Like, oh, that kind of looks like a friend or an uncle or someone that I've just seen recently. And like I said, I'm hoping too, like you said, with that direction of travel, maybe we have some Ring camera footage or even Tesla cameras. I know Tesla cars have cameras. Someone said that in the chat too. Hey, check your Tesla camera if you have, your car parked on the street of that area. And I know that area is pretty saturated with CCTV, so I'm sure they're going to catch or get some other distinct photos or video of this suspect.
Yeah, 100%, Brian. This is where, the classic see something, say something comes in. And, this is law enforcement can't do this work by themselves. They need the community to share whatever, even if it's a lead that turns out to be nothing, it's a lead that they don't have to follow. Right. So now you go back to other, 70% good information or 90% good information. So any information that people have is going to be good, even if it turns out to be nothing. So, I want to encourage anyone that might be in close proximity to this area. Maybe they have a friend or a loved one that goes to Brown University or works on campus. Don't be shy about holding information back. Law enforcement needs that level of support.
Yeah, and the things that they might be even looking for too, if they see some extended footage, how you said that direction of travel, maybe some other camera footage comes up of somewhere where he might have stopped or touched something or put his hand somewhere. That's always a good possibility too. That's how they catch a lot of these people. I know, what was it, Rex Heuermann, the Long Island murder, they caught him by literally getting a piece of pizza and doing some DNA testing, anything like that, any area that they may have touched or been around, I'm sure that's going to be a focus of study as well too.
I always say there's no perfect crime, and the forensic capabilities that law enforcement has it's just remarkable. And sometimes here at my home we like the crime shows and we watch them, and you see how investigators are really leveraging DNA And it's just one layer, right? That's just one layer. In this particular case, Governor Healy mentioned that Mass State Police are on standby, and they'll have the assets of the air wing. You'll have assets of canine, right? We're at a manhunt. We're right back to Luigi Mangione.
Yeah.
We're right back to the Zarnaev brothers on a manhunt back from the 2013 marathon bombing. So all of this information is all of these different resources are going to be really important to get this guy off the streets.
Could you see door-to-door searches if they had to do that? Could you see something like that, a scenario come up?
I could see if, and this is what happened in the Watertown arrest of the Zarnaev youngest brother, that there was unusual movement. He was hiding in a boat, and literally law enforcement converged on a home, a residence in the community of Watertown, and literally took him out of a boat in the backyard.
Yeah. Let's go up to this presser, Todd. We'll see what's going on here.
Yeah.
Fue el responsable, y también el alcalde dio diferentes tip lines que las tienes en la website de la policía de Providence. Te las puedo dar, que el número es el 401-652-5763, y ese es el departamento de la policía de Providence. Y también el FBI tiene otro website en el cual, si tú tienes cualquier tipo de evidencia,
They're looking for tips, definitely. And I have the tip line down below, 401-727-3121. If you have a tip. And I know you have a spot on BBC at midnight. If you need to jump off before that and relax, it's no problem. I appreciate you jumping up and giving us your expert opinion on this.
Yeah, glad you reached out. There's a lot of layers to this thing. There always is.
Yeah, I saw it. We were live streaming and I was like, oh wait, there's Todd. And then I was like, oh, this is live. So I'm like, oh, I wonder if he had like a minute to jump up. And then, here we are, we connected. So that's really
cool. You helped me stay awake before my midnight interview.
This is fluid, right? And that's where we're happy.
I was just saying, I was like, it's really late.
The department is concentrated. That's where we want to make sure we have operational control of that area. It's fluid, it's dangerous. We want to make sure that that's the area that we're concentrating at this point, because that's where it occurred.
Is there also a reason to protect that area?
Well, in the sense of that's where it occurred. We're still fresh. Again, I just told you earlier that we're canvassing the area. We want to make sure that we're not going to read door. We want to make sure that we identify.
So they are door
knocking. To collect.
Yeah.
It takes time. It's ballistics that we may need to seize. It's all part of the evidence, and we want to make sure that we have the time, resources, and the space that is untouched, so that we can seize the evidence that we need.
Is there no video from inside the classroom that would help people get a better look at?
So that's the video that the mayor released earlier that we have, and we're looking at all the footage. And once we have more that is helpful, we're going to release it.
Right, but I'm saying inside.
You've been listening to officials in Providence giving us an update on the shooting at Brown University today. There was one piece of new information here as it relates to the shelter in place. Tomorrow morning, if you want to go about your business, you are permitted to do so, even if there is no development with the suspect apprehension tonight. So that seems to be the big headline from this latest press conference.
And officials also noting that they know that the video they released didn't have quite a clear image of that suspect, but they are actively requesting the public's help with video and photos. They've also set up a tip website, fbi.gov/Brown University shooting. All right, let's turn things now to meteorologist Sydney Welch, because we do have weather.
Todd, what do you make of that, to let people out and say, do you think they think the suspect is out of that area?
Tough to tell. They're probably very hesitant about, too much government. This is me speculating, not that I have any inside track on that, but they probably don't want to over control people's movement. And, it's sensitive, people got to work, people got to do, grocery shopping, people got to live. So it's a very delicate balance. But, what we saw in the marathon bombing manhunt was they put several communities on lockdown.
Yeah.
And it worked. And they were able to flush out the younger brother at that point.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're kind of opening this up so quickly. Question from DA Boston asking Todd how difficult it will be for the with the incoming snowstorm to search for evidence.
Yeah, DA Boston, great question. Inclement weather always offers a challenge. kind of the silver lining for the investigation is that the incident happened during dry weather. And if there's any, and also a lot of the activity took place inside of a building. So the manhunt, it won't be compromised by the weather in the event that they use canines. Canines are fantastic. They work through all those different changes of the environment. But you know, if you had a crime scene outside and you had inclement weather coming in and you were searching for evidence, that could be problematic. But as far as manhunt for the individual, if they can have a lead on him and get a track on him, I don't think the weather will play any. It won't be anything detriment to the investigation.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions for Todd, please drop them in the chat. Let's go to CBS Boston. And I know anytime you have to jump off, Todd, just let me know. I know you have a spot on BBC at midnight. Let's see what's going on here.
Pocket. Now, that could mean he has a firearm inside the pocket. It could also mean that there's a slice in the pocket and he's got his hand inside holding a rifle. This was a very purposeful walk that the man was exhibiting in the picture. The other thing is, there's a really good, clear look at the clothing he was wearing. Dark clothing, as a general description, isn't helpful. But when you see that 3/4 length jacket pulled up, the particular type of hat he had, and I think most importantly, his size, his height and weight estimates, when he's walking by that signal post with very little geometry and camera angles, you can get a pretty precise height on that guy just by analyzing the video. So there's a wealth of information there that the police are going to be able to use to try to get us honed in on who this guy is.
So Cherry's asking, will they use heat sensors during the night to look for him?
Yeah, if they deploy the air wing, the air wing has some wonderful equipment attached to it. And if anyone's trying to hide in the woods or anything like that, they stick out like a sore thumb. They
Oh yeah,
can't hide with those things.
If you ever want to go watch stuff like that, like just you can look on YouTube, like just go out in like LA. You see a lot of the footage out there from the helicopters, and they'll use those heat sensors, and you can see people like running through backyard. They look like, you know, almost like ghosts, you know, running through the back. They light up pretty hot. That heat sensor will, you know, from the it almost looks like an old negative.
Yeah.
When you take pictures back in the day and develop film, that's kind of what you look like.
Yeah, it's
But yeah, that's a
phenomenal
great
technology.
That's a really great question. All right, let's go back up here.
I can tell you from personal experience that it takes a long time to sift through this stuff. It's not what you see on television where they press a button and they say, give us all the video on Hope Street. It doesn't work like that. Sometimes it's door-to-door shoe leather detective work that is required before you get your hands on the data, and then analysts have to go through it. This might be a day, it might be 2 days, it might be 3 days, but we'll see better pictures of this guy. I guarantee it.
Let me take it one step further on that video. Judging from what we've seen there, is that a gait that a classmate or somebody who knows that person would recognize them from?
This is definitely something that's going to be important. That gait is unusual. And it's not the gait of a college student, in my estimation. I think you're dealing with a much older guy. One of the police officials, the deputy chief, said somebody in their 30s. This guy might be even older than that, in my estimation. But they'll have a lot of experts looking at this to give you the best estimates that they can. It might be a younger guy with some kind of leg problem, but this is not a kid.
Ed Davis, we so appreciate your insight and your expertise tonight, and thank you for being with us on what has been a really terrifying night in Providence and an unnerving.
Someone was saying earlier in the chat, Todd, seeing that walk, maybe previous military, maybe a previous military or, you know, an injury, something like that. You know, a lot of the times we find out that some of these, you know, active shooters have some type of military or government background.
Yeah, that's true. We have seen that, and you know that PTSD, you know, it can take someone to some very dark places. You know, that gait along with the clothing, direction of travel, you can see how things start to develop.
Let's see if we got another feed here. And then when you go on BBC, we're gonna we're gonna go over to that later so we can watch you over there. It all is kind of quiet on the feeds right now. Let's see. I think this is from previous.
Walk behind the stand that have been in.
I mean, I know the students are anxious, and I know they're in very constant
It's a good question
communication
here.
with loved ones.
Could this active shooter have, hid the gun like Charlie Kirk? Yeah, I guess anything is possible. We didn't see the shooter or, potential suspect leave that area with a type of firearm. And I don't know if it was a pistol or a rifle. I don't know, Todd, did you hear anything about that? A pistol or a rifle?
No, they haven't released information as far as the type of weapon system. But if he did discard the weapon, canines will be able to get a track from the ballistics collected as evidence, and then from there you deploy your dogs in the direction of travel. And if he tossed it in a yard or in a bush or in a trash can, the dogs will get you close, if not right to the actual weapon. So if it's not on him anymore, there's a very good chance that a canine search will turn up the firearm.
Yeah. No, yeah, I did play that from earlier. I guess it was a pretty tough question to the president of the university and said, it's been about 6 hours later and you still are saying that you have no idea what went on your campus. So she's facing some backlash from the media right now.
Yeah.
And, I think, go ahead, Todd. I'm sorry.
I was watching that, and I wish she would have brought a communications person, because they're trained to be able to handle those types of questions from the reporters. And one option could have been, like the law enforcement investigation, we are still gathering information as to the students, their presence inside that specific classroom, but to give a shoulder shrug is just not a good look.
Yeah, and it just goes back to, and I know that you take this very serious because you're in the business of security. And yeah, you can talk, and I don't want to get down on the university. I don't know their practices. I'm just saying that I think sometimes in these situations that things like security, might be just kind of surface level. We have it's an infrastructure, it's in place, but they may not be actively practicing. And I don't know their practices there, so I don't want to put anything, but I just look at things like this, and that's why I know you take this very serious, and you take on some pretty big projects to just let them know, like, this really needs to be taken serious. It can't just be glazed over and just say, "Oh, we have security."
Well, Brian, it was reported earlier that, again, this is a building that finals were happening, and the doors on the street were unlocked. They were unsecured.
Yeah.
Come on. You can't have that. And for these reasons, you can't have that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be, these areas, and I'm sure you talk about this all the time, in these security areas, even student buildings, badge in, badge out. If they have a badge system or someone that monitors the doors or however it may be. And I'm sure that's going to be a lot of question too. Why were those doors open? Is there a badging system? Why was it not in place? These are the types of questions that are probably going to come up from hundreds of parents, and especially those parents that lost, children tonight. This is a tragedy. I mean, we're what, less than a week and a half away from Christmas, and this is what some of these families have to deal with, and the trauma of the students too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Brian, I always say, criminals are opportunists, and they're lazy. They look for the easiest way to victimize. And if you're going to leave your doors unlocked, well, guess what? They're going to exploit you, and they're going to walk right through your front door. They're going to do damage, and then they're going to walk out like it was a 7-Eleven and go about their business. And everyone is left caught in the carnage in the aftermath of the event. So, I'm sorry, but security is not about convenience. It's about keeping everyone secure.
I agree. Let's see here. Oh, we got people running.
End of year exams. CCTV apparently shows the suspect leaving Hope Street Doesn't show really an awful lot of detail as we expect, but the clothing is either black or dark grey. Some people had reported to authorities that he was wearing a mask, but they say that detail isn't confirmed. The CCTV does not show a gun, but they say there is video inside the building. Carl, I'm sure you noticed this as well. There is very good CCTV inside the building.
Okay,
Officers are combing through that.
Someone in the chat saying, won't let me leave a super chat. That's fine. Thank you for being here and just watching anyway. So I'll drop what I know. Are you ready? Sure. If you want to type here, if you live in and around that area, sure. Let us know what you got. And maybe we can talk about that here.
I will be collating all tips that come into authorities. CCTV continues to be combed through.
And this is the thing. I mean, there's just not any information coming through. Let's go back up to Providence. On this,
I could respond back to DA Boston.
Sure.
Saying, could it be someone holding the door for another? They didn't have to. The doors were unlocked. This gunman could have just helped himself and walked right in.
Let's see.
On foot. There was a moment here where there were about
This is live.
5
Oh,
RIPTA buses that
attack
were
vehicle in the back.
packed from front to back with students arriving here for safe haven. This has been a landing spot for many of them as we have been pulling them from across the campus as the
So Cheryl's asking, Todd, what is the best camera for a house? Fairly quiet area. What would you recommend?
The Ring doorbell is very sufficient, but Amazon has dozens of home surveillance cameras. Some of them are operating off of solar, so you don't even have to hardwire them. And they're not expensive. For under $1,000, you can have cameras all around your house.
Yeah. And then usually a lot of them just run right through your cloud. I've had security cameras, in and around my studio that just ran right into my cloud, and you get video and just extrapolate that. Let's hear from the student here.
I felt like at first I just thought it was something like way off campus or something like, and then when I found out it was directly next to me, just like it's still hard to grasp.
This is a really hard time, and this just shows exactly why gun violence is such a problem in the United States, and it's something that needs to be taken care of.
I am super proud of my students that they took good care of themselves and for each other in this terrible, terrible incident.
Can't confirm it's going to be safe until they have. Like, I understand why everything has to be this way because they can't ensure our safety until they have the guy.
Yeah, and now the latest bus, the RIPTA bus, has arrived, dropping off even more students. And I think the big question is, what happens over the next few hours? Because it's yet to be determined, I guess, how long until police officers are going to be able to find the person responsible for this. So we don't know how long until students will really feel safe here. And because of that, they've all been brought here. But over the next few hours, you have to think, are they sleeping here? When will meals be provided? All of that kind of stuff. And so we're going to have to really find out what the next couple of hours are going to look like for the, again, hundreds of students that have arrived here at the athletic complex. And it seems likely that they won't be able to go until it's deemed safe, at least for the surrounding Brown University area. In Providence, Leanna Falk, back to you.
Leanna, we see a lot of students that were walking behind you. Were those just dropped off by another bus?
Yes, and another bus just arrived as well. Paul, let's get off sticks really quickly. Yeah, you can just turn and you can see this is 2 RIPTA buses. You can see them back to back, and they're both filled from front to back with students or people who were associated with the Brown University campus. So these are buses that have been arriving every 10, 15 minutes or so over the past 3 hours. It's picked up most recently, but again, these are all students and they are all here essentially looking for safety and security amidst this tragedy.
Leanna Falk, live and seen in Providence for us this evening. Leanna, thank you. We also have brand new video just in. This is from inside one of the buildings at Brown University. We don't know which building this is. You can see the students sheltering in place here. It's kind of shot quickly, but there's a lot of students huddled together. And this one, students hiding under desks. It looks like they've barricaded themselves with some chairs there. And you can see them just hiding out. Here's another vantage point of students crowded into a room together. Some of these, it's different in each of them. Some of them, they're casually talking. Other ones, you can see they're under the desks, clearly terrified, very understandably so, after this gunman opened fire.
And that gunman is still on the loose tonight, and you can see those students just sitting in there under their desks, standing shoulder.
Yeah, what are the standard practices, Todd, in an area where you tell you to lock down? If you can just give us some basic information, if people ever, caught in a situation like this at a university, or maybe they're out at a shopping mall, what's the best scenario to shelter in place?
Well, the standard, the three options are always run, hide, fight. Fight is the last resort. Run if you can, if it's safe to do so. But specifically in a lockdown, you barricade your door with whatever you have available. But the key thing is understanding which way the door opens. If the door opens to the lobby, then you don't have the ability to physically lock the door, then the threat can pull the door and gain access. So, you really have to be mindful about the space that you're in. The other issue is that if you're in close proximity to the shooter, once you barricade and get yourself safe, then you want to get as low as possible. If the gunman shoots inside of your space, most likely they're going to be at chest height, and at chest height, the bullets would go over you as opposed to finding you. So, those are just really basic, rudimentary ways to keep yourself safe in the event there's a threat close proximity to where you're at.
If you're in and around maybe a fire extinguisher, is it always best to kind of arm yourself with something like that, or?
100%. Fire extinguishers, any blunt object to be used as a weapon. So while you're keeping yourself safe, I'm looking around for anything that I can use as an improvised weapon.
Yeah, and it's, believe me, that stuff that comes out of fire extinguishers is not fun.
Oh, it's
To get that
nasty.
stuff sprayed in your eyes or your mouth. So we have someone joining us this evening. It's been a while since he's been on the channel. Mazza Media jumping in. How you doing, Mazza?
Doing all right. I'm just going to come on briefly. I've been to this area before a couple of years back. Me and a couple of friends went to Dirk's Barbecue, which is on Thayer Street, which is about a block west of Brown University. And it was a Saturday night when we went. One thing I can tell you about this area is the school. There's a school campus. Then there's the main strip of restaurants. There's a lot of restaurants. It's a big hangout spot. It's no different than, it's a dressed down version of the North End, or similar to Plymouth, where it's just constantly a lot of stores. There's a lot of activity. College kids are out and about, at bars, restaurants all night long. But it's also a residential area as well. So it blends with a lot of, off-campus housing.
Yeah.
A lot of houses in the area, apartments, all in that area as well. So it's a very unique area down there in Rhode Island, east of Providence. So one of the things that's been speculated throughout the night, that there's the potential, we saw this with the shocking turn of events with the Boston Marathon bombing, where suddenly something happened on MIT's campus. It's one of those things where someone said tonight that, is it possible this could have been a Brown student, or could it have not been? And again, you never know where this suspect has gone to. Could he have gone back, been a student, gone back to campus, or could he have lived nearby? Now, the Warwick Airport is about, 20 minutes south
Correct.
of Providence.
Yep.
So there's a lot of ways the suspect could potentially, either stay in the area but discreetly, or just flee the state altogether. I don't know what's happening, but I just wanted to add to the element of the area. It's unpredictable.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, that, in and around that area where Brown is, and I know this because I spent a lot of time down there. I used to hang out on Thayer Street in the 90s and, hit all the record stores and the punk rock shops. And, it was a very punk rock area, and it became very hipster, in the 2000s. But, Todd and I were talking about this earlier, that, the highway to 95, you can get on either side of the highway, 95 north or south, probably within 3 or 4 blocks of Brown University. So if this guy, had a car, or this person, had a car in and around that area, they could get on the highway within 5 to 8 minutes, pending some traffic lights, and slip out of that area. And things that we don't know. We don't know if he had any help, if there was a driver, anything like that. So, yeah, it's just it's crazy. I mean, this person could be out of the area right now, and hours down the road. We don't know.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills, who are playing the Patriots tomorrow in Gillette, they're actually in Providence tonight in their hotels, and I guess their hotel was not far away, but they're all safe. One of my great friends lives in Providence, and she's okay. So me and her texted a couple hours ago. She's good. So they were indoors all night, which was great news. So I was happy to hear that. Obviously, it was a university matter, but still, you just never know. Something like this could spill out off campus, like we saw with the Boston Marathon MIT shooting that ended up escalating into the streets of Watertown. But that's, I'm kind of getting those vibes. Like, this reminds me a little bit of I'm thinking back to the nightclub fires that happened 22 years ago. I'm thinking a little bit of the Boston Marathon bombing. And then, of course, just every shooting that's happened in this country. But yeah, it's crazy. But this one definitely hits close to home. The Providence, Boston area is always, for a lot of us, been a big area, So.
Yeah, DA Boston says +1. Oh, that's right. 195 is right there. You could cross over the Henderson Bridge right into East Providence to Seekonk. There's Route 6 Seekonk. You got 44 that's right there. That's another major way in and around, Seekonk, Swansea, Fall River, and then continue right over into the border into Massachusetts, or go right into Connecticut. It's so close.
You know what we've seen, Brian and Maz, that in all these active shooters, it seems like there's great planning, but there's very poor planning on their exit strategy.
Right.
And so, we're hoping that this follows suit, where, mistakes will be made, and the authorities, someone will identify the gunman, and then, bring that level of information over to law enforcement to them to follow up with.
What are your thoughts? This was a concern raised on Channel 5. I'm not sure if the guy was a cop who was on the network earlier tonight, but one of the concerns he raised, Todd, was that, given it's winter time and, there's a lot of winter hats, people wear scarves, sometimes people wear ski masks. Now, the suspect, obviously, if this had been summertime, for example, they'd probably stand out a little bit more, because this time of year, in a very very populated area, of course, this time of year, there's a lot of people wearing winter hats and maybe potentially for ski masks and scarves. Do you think that definitely adds a higher layer of difficulty to identifying someone, especially seeing that a lot of buildings in that area are either multi-family or even apartment-based buildings?
Yeah, great question. And I would ask everyone to think back to the original images that were released on Mangione, Luigi Mangione, and all of those images. The first initial images that came out were of him being masked, and it was at best he had kind of bushy eyebrows. That was really kind of the only indicator that you can make, but with a man behind a mask. But eventually, the more CCTV footage, the more information, digital information that was released, eventually they found him without any face covering. And I would think that this will also fall in suit the same way, where eventually over time they'll stitch together all the CCTV and all the ring footage. And at some point, just human nature, you got to take that stuff off. And hopefully it'll be in a very public way that was captured in some type of CCTV.
Yeah. Let's go here. When you got to pop off in a second, right, Todd? You have a
I got like 1 more minute, Brian.
Okay. Yeah, Todd's gonna have a spot on BBC. We'll pop over there on the feed and watch his spot. I'm going to turn up the sound here.
May show an image of that suspect. And while Brown and the surrounding neighborhood are sheltering in place tonight, people are reeling from this deadly attack far from campus.
WBZ's Louisa Moeller is live in Providence with that part of the story. She's been talking to people at the reunification center that was set up by authorities there.
Yeah, Ken, Lisa, I'm at this athletic center at the heart of Brown's campus, which has become the reunification center primarily for students. If you take a look behind me, and you can see in the distance there, those glass doors where we've seen students.
You know, and real quick, I mean, this is, you know, we're on what, almost 6 hours out now. And, you know, this suspect could be anywhere at this point. And, you know, and that's what I was saying earlier is there's just so many access points to get out of this, so quick to get to major highways in the matter of minutes. It is very scary. It's a very, very scary time in and around the Brown University area. I'm gonna do this because I know Todd has a spot on BBC in a couple of minutes. I want to thank retired veteran Mass State Police and security consultant Todd McGee. He joins the show very frequently, and I love the fact that he could jump up here tonight and give us some expertise. Todd, thank you so much for coming up and helping us out here. And I'm sure that we'll see each other very, very soon.
Yeah, join the BBC link. I'm on at midnight, which is probably what 5 a.m., 6 a.m. their time. So, yeah, join on over when you have a moment.
I will. Yeah, we'll watch that. Thanks, Todd. I appreciate your expertise. Thanks for your time tonight.
Thanks, Mazza. Good to see you, brother. Take care.
Good to see you, Todd. Take care of yourself. All the best on BBC.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Nice to see Todd. When Todd can come up. Mazza Media in the house, man.
That's right.
It's been forever.
I know it's probably going to be brief tonight, but yeah, man, this is kind of just a shocking night. I was sitting down, I was watching John Cena wrestle tonight, so I wanted to focus on that, and I'm like, I got to switch over and watch that on tonight. But
It's his last match tonight, right?
that's it. That's what they're saying. Yeah, that was it. You know, so it's too bad. But
Who did he wrestle?
Gunther.
Okay. All right. So this is it.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough to leave that. Like, if you're doing that for so long and then just to just stop, you know,
Oh yeah.
that's got to be really tough for him. You know, he was just recently on Rogan and he made this
was he?
comment. Yeah, he made this comment about, you know, my last match is going to be on, I guess, the 13th or the 15th. And he said, the sad thing about it is in a couple of weeks, they won't even remember me. Like, it's how quick that cycle in wrestling is.
Yeah. It's getting back to these kids here that are on campus. You know, imagine the threat that they might be feeling right now.
Oh,
if
yeah.
a potential student had been the culprit in all of this, but you know, or you know, for all you know, it could be a student that lives off campus as well. You know, so there's always that situation. Then, of course, you always have the you know, the absolutely random shooter as well. That, you know, just comes from out of nowhere with some kind of motive. So it's a very uncomfortable feeling. That's for sure. So it's I'm just hoping this will be a nicely contained situation by police, meaning when they do locate the suspect, that they'll be able to contain him without, you know, that this doesn't spiral into what we saw happen with the Boston Marathon bombing, where it just spilled to MIT, it spilled to Watertown. You know, there was explosives. You know, I don't project that's going to happen here, but again, you never know. I mean, you never know. But, I don't think so in this situation, given this appears to be just a standard shooting where the Boston Marathon was you know, those guys were well crafted with their attack on the marathon and as well as the explosives they were igniting on the streets of Watertown. But this is, you know, obviously we want to see this guy taken down as quickly as possible, you know, which is, you know, again, this distinct walk was also pointed out on Channel 5 just minutes ago as well before I came on. But yeah, you know, I think this being a little bit of daylight at this point, obviously, is favorable too, because they were asking residents for any doorbell footage they have, any kind of security cam footage they might have, and I think if they can potentially, you know, track that down through that. And again, a lot of businesses, as you're seeing right there.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
As you know, you've been there, you know, a lot of businesses in the area too. So they can pick them up and quickly trace down the path, and they can get them traced down to an exact, you know, I think someone in the chat said, you know, they might have had them pinned down to or traced down to a certain area. That's good. I like the police setup quite a bit. I thought they really did a great job of shutting down a lot of the streets. Even in the overhead shots of the area, you could see police, really blocking off a lot of streets, really kind of cordoning off that area of Providence, to give themselves the best opportunity. But the only problem is that when you don't know who you're looking for, they can always slip through the cracks so easily. There's backyards, there's, you just never know. And that's the scary part about all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary. And the thing is like I only live 15 minutes from there. I literally could go down to the area, but I'm like, they're not letting anybody in down there. And I don't want to confuse the situation.
No.
And I don't want to be around, where there's an active shooter either. So
right. Exactly.
All those factors. Let's do this. Let's change over to BBC. Todd's going to be jumping up there in a second. Let's watch his segment. Anytime you get to jump out, just let me know.
I'll drop off now. Actually, that way I'll let you get going with this segment. And hey, man, good seeing you. And great coverage as well, man. And we'll catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to let everybody know we get about 450 people watching us on YouTube. I appreciate you. About 3,600 watching us on X, and then my fine friends of 8 on Facebook. Nice to see you all. If you haven't, please go over, subscribe to Mazza Media. Help him out on his YouTube channel. You can find him there on YouTube and also on X under that as well. Mazza Media, thanks for jumping on this evening. We're going to continue our coverage here of the shooting at Brown University. We still have an active shooter situation, and they're telling all students in all residencies in and around the Brown University area to shelter in place. Mazza will catch up pretty soon. Oh, he dropped off. Have a good night. All right, let's turn up the feed here from BBC. I'm going to try to stay here as long as I can with you guys.
I assume that's because, again, the gunman has not been spotted in the last, since he left that building, that engineering building around 4 o'clock, and now it's 10:25, but just very, very tense, obviously devastating night, and I'm sure devastating days to come, especially as we learn more about the victims.
Yeah, devastating night. And of course, we heard that the 2 victims who were killed in the shooting are believed to be, or confirmed to be by the Brown University president, students on campus. And now 9 people injured. It's thought that most of them, if not all of them, also students.
Yes, the Brown University president, Christina Paxson, says that the first 10 victims that we knew about, 2 dead, 8 shot, were Brown University students. There is now an 11th victim who was not shot but was injured by shrapnel.
Thanks, 11 victims now. 11 victims
was a Brown University
reported.
student, but all or most of these victims are students here at Brown. We also, as we learned earlier, there were finals going on in that building at the time.
Thank you, DJ.
And so, we don't know yet exactly where.
Thank you for your super chat earlier. I appreciate that, DJ. Thank you. I appreciate that. 11 victims now reported, 2 dead in the Brown University shooting. So we now have 11 victims that have been reported.
Confirmation about the identity of the 2 students, or at least the fact we know that 2 students were killed. Have you heard anything from the campus community there?
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking to students who are still in lockdown. There's a group of them in a dining hall that I was texting with, and they're just waiting, until they can leave. So it's a very, very tense and very stressful situation, not just to have had such a obviously tragic shooting happen on campus, but to still be in this limbo where the suspect is not in custody. There is no credible information about his whereabouts that have, I guess, led police to lift the lockdown, lift the shelter in place, I should say, or for the university itself to lift the lockdown. And we did ask the president when she thought the lockdown would be lifted, and she doesn't know. So they're sort of in this really awful situation. Obviously some of them are in their dorms, and so they're just going to probably be there for the night. But those who are out and about in university buildings are still in lockdown, still waiting there. I was in a restaurant earlier talking to students who were just, getting ramen at the time that this happened. They did eventually leave the restaurant and head back to their dorms. So there's sort of this very tense, quiet, atmosphere. There's very few people walking around, mostly just police, and some reporters and, a couple people leaving.
Nothing. The only thing that we have right now is that 3 to 5 second loop clip that they've shown. So hopefully there's more soon. Hopefully there's more soon. 11 victims now reported, 2 dead in the shooting of the Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. This tragic incident started to happen in and around, I think, 4 or 4:30 this afternoon. That's when I started seeing things popping up on my social media. And we're now we're now into a new day. It is now Sunday here on the East Coast. I want to thank everybody for joining. Combined right now, about 4,200 people watching this evening. Thank you for being here. Make sure to repost this stream on X. If you're watching this on X, please retweet it. We're waiting for Todd McGee to join live at the BBC. If you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I appreciate everybody being here and all my friends over on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining this evening as well. Thank you so much, Donovan, for being here. We're just waiting for the next news cycle to start here. If I can give you some updates really quick. So at 4:05 p.m., the first 911 call was reported. Providence Mayor Smiley told CNN Providence Fire Chief Derek Silver and his team were dispatched to the area for an active shooter at the same time. At 4:22 p.m., the university released its first emergency alert saying that there was an active shooter near Barris and Hawley Engineering building. At 5:11 p.m., Brown University urged community members to continue to shelter in place in another emergency alert. Tell me the stream just ended. You got to be kidding me. Let me just do this update here. At 5:27 p.m., the university reported shots fired in another location near Governor Street. Later at 6:10, and they said that the reports were unfounded. At 5:52 p.m., the university said the situation was still ongoing. At 6:33 p.m., Brown announced that 2 people have died and 8 victims were in the hospital. There's now been 11 victims that have been identified. At 7:38 p.m., university was still in lockdown, urging members of the community to shelter in place and keep all doors locked. That is where we're at this time, my friends. Let me see if I can find another feed. And I don't think we're going to be able to see Todd this evening. We're going to go back up to WBZ in Boston.
They will be up and out all night tonight and throughout the day tomorrow, and will remain hard at work until the individual responsible is brought to justice. But tomorrow, on Sunday, you will see police officers throughout the city, and we are receiving and relying on and grateful for the assistance from the state police and our neighboring communities, all of whom have offered to help. We know this is a scary time, but we also know that tomorrow there is some business that needs to get done. People want to take their kids to church in the morning, and we want them to feel comfortable doing so. Those are the updates that I have to share. I'd like to invite Governor McKee to share a few words. Then we'll hear from Colonel Perez, Chief of the Providence Police Department, and then we'll take your questions. Governor?
Yeah. So I said earlier, the unthinkable has happened here in Rhode Island. And our thoughts and prayers go to the people who have been personally impacted in the Brown community. But also we want to make sure that we recognize the state is coming together as a whole around this issue, Mayor, rallying around Providence, Brown University. As a parent, grandparent, we know that we have deep feelings right now in the state, but they're coming together. And I think that that's something that we can certainly rally behind as we enter into the second day. At the hospital, shout out to our nurses and our medical staff that is, taking care of 9 individuals right now. and also to the communities at large that have responded to you, Mayor, right? Whether they're coming from my hometown of Cumberland or all around the state of Rhode Island. So we're rallying behind one another. We're going to continue that in day 2. The state
Thank you, DJ.
pledges
Appreciate
all
you.
its
Thank you.
resources to the city of Providence.
Trying to
We're
get some more
partnering,
updates
continue
for you
partnering with
all.
our federal officials as well to make sure that justice comes to the individual that pulled the trigger
See if we have any
and
updates
caused death.
from Providence Police.
And families, they're going to have to deal with this for a lifetime. So I'm happy that, that we're able to respond, but very sad about what we're responding to.
Thank you, Governor. Now we'll get a brief update from Colonel Oscar Perez, Chief of the Providence Police Department.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, as the mayor stated, obviously, first and foremost, my thoughts and prayers to the family for losing their loved ones, especially in these times of the holidays that we'll get together with our family. So beyond that, I'll tell you that when the call came in, immediately our officers responded. Providence Police was here within minutes. At that point, obviously, we communicated with Brown Police and we did what we needed to do. At this point, as the mayor stated, we're going to continue to canvass the area. We have enhanced enforcement in the city. I got to thank our municipalities, our brothers and sisters from other municipalities who actually reached out immediately asking if I needed anything, as well as the state police. And so we're there with that, as well as the federal agencies, the FBI, ATF, who came and responded immediately and provided extra personnel, extra resources. At this point, it's all hands on deck. And I'll tell you that it was said by the mayor and it was said by the governor. It will be our job to ensure that the individual is responsible is brought to justice. I think that as a father, as a brother, as an uncle, I think that we want to bring justice and sort of relief to these families. And again, my heart goes out to them. I'll tell you that the mayor mentioned about the shelter in place. It's important to keep that in mind. These are fluid, dangerous situations, and we need to make sure that operationally the police department can do their job. That's canvassing the area, identifying suspects if we need to, continue to stop vehicles if we need to. At this point, we want to make sure that everyone's safe. And then once we realize that that's the case, we'll make sure that that's lifted. Again, I thank the officers of this department that stepped up immediately and quickly. Do I wish that we would have been here prior? Absolutely. But I know for a fact the special response unit was here. Our task force was here. Narcotics was here. Everyone that was working, including the commander who drove here immediately. There goes without saying that this city is well protected and will continue to be well protected, and we will continue to ensure that we do what we need to do to bring those people in justice. And I thank the mayor for the support and everybody else that's here for that. So thank you. Yes. Yes, go ahead, John.
Just so we're clear,
Yes.
this individual goes into this classroom, this building, fires, and then exits. So nothing else on the campus seems very targeted. Is there a student that flunked out of the class? Seems to be some connection, that building, that classroom.
Correct. And that's a great point, John. And I'll tell you that Detective Division is looking into that. Obviously, Major LaPena is actually on the street right now, as well as the captains. And that's something
Could
that
be
we
a
need to
formal
look at, right? What
faculty
was this
member.
building? Why was this classroom? And as well, work very closely with Brown Police to see what type of resources they have in the building so that we can utilize to find the evidence that we need to follow and identify who this individual was.
One quick
Yeah.
follow-up. When you look at that video,
Yes.
he's going right down Waterman, comes up Hope Waterman. What does that tell you? He seems fairly calm. He's not running. He's walking at a brisk pace. Your background, what does that tell you about this suspect?
I'll tell you, these individuals, you see it nationwide. You never think it will happen here in the city of Providence, but that's the dynamic actions that they do.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what
I'm
you saw.
thinking,
It's
Ann.
something that we have to investigate further to figure out who this individual was. But we'll take that into account. Go ahead, Pat.
Chief, could you reach out to the Spanish-speaking community and give us some type of words?
You know, it could be a formal faculty member. It could be a maintenance person that worked there. You know, anything like that. I think it's an older person. I don't think it's a student. From what I'm understanding, and from what my eyes are seeing, someone that's definitely looks a little older, and it just comes to faculty member, ex-staff member. Maybe someone that took care of the grounds at the university. Could be anything like that. Someone that lives in the neighborhood that knows that building, that may live in that neighborhood. Could be anything like that at this point. Well, let's go back up to the live feed here. Let's see.
Up cars to move easily through these neighborhoods and to make sure that people are safe. So it was clear from that news conference they are committed to trying to carry out this manhunt until they find the individual who fired in that building today, killing 2 students and wounding 7 more.
And they've asked the community to acknowledge the efforts of law enforcement, who's going to be out there all night. They say rally round law enforcement. Again, the governor, Dan McKee, promising that eventually there will be justice in this. So this is an event that is apparently going to go on throughout the night.
And we'll continue to follow this. We also have an important story here. We have snow moving on overnight, and this is a forecast that has changed a little bit.
Just a little bit for the South Shore especially. Let's get a first look at what appears to be a south of Boston event with meteorologist Dan Brown. Dan?
All right, yes, certainly looking a little more robust than we were thinking just the last couple of days. So snow is indeed going to be moving in over the next couple of hours. In fact, we've already started to see a little bit of snow break out across Worcester County. Highest amounts will be south of Boston, where it will be a plowable event. But even north and west of Boston, we are talking about some accumulating snow. We have the winter weather advisory in effect for southeastern Mass, Cape Cod, and the islands, parts of Rhode Island and Connecticut as well. Still dry in the Boston area, but you can see some light snow at least showing up on radar across western Mass. This will all fill in over the next couple of hours. Notice as we get into the wee hours of the morning, snow breaking out, the darker blues, of course, indicating that moderate to heavy snow, which is lining up just south down towards
Well, we get a weather
Plymouth,
report.
Cape Cod, and the islands. But even the 128 to 495, we're seeing that snow in the morning lingering for a bit. It'll come down moderate at times south of Boston, including the Cape and the islands, and it really won't wind down probably completely till tomorrow late in the afternoon across the Cape and the islands. And then behind that, it is going to turn windy and cold as this storm system strengthens and begins to move on out. So snowfall totals basically inside of 128, 1 to 3 inches. Then you get south of Boston, including Foxborough out at Gillette, Plymouth, New Bedford, 3 to 6. The outer Cape may be mixing for a while, but they actually may catch up on the back end. So for now, 1 to 3, and then the snow totals will drop off. You get outside of 495, perhaps a coating to an inch there. So Patriots taking on the Bills tomorrow, of course. Looks like it may start with some snow, and then as the game goes on, conditions will improve. But it is going to be windy, especially the second half of the game, as temperatures will be falling as well as that cold air begins to work on in. Not much wind during the storm system, but as it's strengthening and moving away, the winds start to pick up. And with that, the temps fall and our wind chills slide as well. So that by Monday morning, we're talking about wind chills that will be near zero. So Monday indeed is going to be a cold one, temperatures in the upper 20s. The winds will be gusting out of the northwest up to 30, and then less wind Tuesday. But look at that. We bounce back nicely by the middle and latter half of the week, and we could be talking about a rainstorm Thursday into Friday with temps perhaps near 50. All right, that's your forecast. Have a great night.
Only in New England.
Dan, thanks a lot. All right, I want to show you that video that was
Only in New
released just
England.
about an hour and 15 minutes ago. It shows the shooting suspect in the Brown incident that happened this afternoon leaving the scene of that shooting. You can't see very much.
Real quick, I just want to thank everybody for joining the stream tonight and supporting the channel, supporting me on X and Facebook. If you haven't already, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. And give me a follow on X if you can. If you can just retweet this stream on X, I really would appreciate that. We're going to stay here a little bit longer. I'm sorry, guys. I wish we had more of an update right now. This is still a very, very active scene. And, you know, we're just trying to get as much information as we can. And it seems at this time right now, law enforcement is giving very limited information. So we'll stick with this a little bit longer and see how things go here. Griffin, thank you so much for retweeting this on X. Let's go back to live video here.
Particularly interested in the fact that that man's right arm was pushed deeply into his right pocket. Now, that could mean he has a firearm inside the pocket. It could also mean that there's a slice in the pocket and he's got his hand inside holding a rifle. This was a very purposeful walk that the man was exhibiting in the picture. The other thing is, there's a really good, clear look at the clothing he was wearing. Dark clothing as a general description isn't helpful. But when you see that 3/4 length jacket pulled up the particular type of hat he had, and I think most importantly, his size, his height and weight estimates. When he's walking by that signal post with very little geometry and camera angles, you can get a pretty precise height on that guy just by analyzing the video. So there's a wealth of information there that the police are going to be able to use to try to get us honed in on who this guy is.
Definitely looks
That was
older.
one of the things that we noticed when we saw this video in the newsroom for the first time. He looks like a very large man. I have to ask tonight,
That's what I
as they're
said.
going through the available video and looking at Ring doorbell cameras, can we expect tomorrow, if this manhunt has not wrapped up overnight, if they don't catch this suspect, that we will see more of these images very early tomorrow morning?
Absolutely. There will be more images coming out. They are going to take him away and they're going to go backwards. So they're going to be looking where he went and how he got in there. And I actually know that the city of Providence has a large number of surveillance cameras in the downtown area. I don't know how well they are dispersed in East Providence, but Ring cameras, city cameras, other university cameras, I can tell you from personal experience that it takes a long time to sift through this stuff. It's not what you see on television where they press a button and they say, give us all the video on Hope Street. It doesn't work like that. Sometimes it's door-to-door, shoe leather detective work that is required before you get your hands on the data, and then analysts have to go through it. This might be a day, it might be 2 days, it might be 3 days, but we'll see better pictures of this guy, I guarantee it.
Let me take it one step further on that video. Judging from what we've seen there, is that a gait that a classmate or somebody who knows that person would recognize them from?
This is definitely something that's going to be important. That gait is unusual. And it's not the gait of a college student, in my estimation. I think you're dealing with a much older guy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Steve.
One of the police officials, the deputy chief said something.
This came to my mind. Gee, wow, actually real investigating. Wow, actually going door to door and knocking and talking to people, right? But not in Canton. Oh my gosh, this is crazy.
He's not a kid.
Ed Davis, we so appreciate your insight and your expertise tonight, and thank you for being with us on what has been a really terrifying night in Providence and an unnerving night for people
Just
both
look
on
up
Brown University's
Karen
campus
Reed.
and all over that area.
Thanks a lot, Ed. We appreciate it.
That'll tell
We
you
are following
everything.
breaking news, of course, on this Saturday night. Brown University continues on lockdown as police in Providence, Rhode Island, search for the man who shot and killed 2 students. 9 others are at the hospital, 7 in critical condition.
Now, police say it all happened just after 4 this afternoon. That man you saw in the video wearing black, that's who they're looking for tonight. Thanks for being with us and have a good Sunday.
Thank you, Griffin. All the feeds are starting to drop off now. Let's see here. Give everybody an update here at 11:58 p.m. It is now almost 8 hours since the shooting at Brown was first reported. The number of victims remains 2 dead and 9 injured. None have been identified. At least 10 of the 11 and possibly all 11 were students. The shooter is still on the loose, and there's only limited video of him has been discovered and publicized. A shelter-in-place order continues at Brown University and its surrounding neighborhoods on the east side of Providence as officers make their way from building to building. At the same time, Providence officials are recommended that the events scheduled for Sunday take place as scheduled, saying that they know of no credible ongoing threats to public safety. It's a little weird statement. I'm going to be honest here with that. All right, let's do this. It looks like all our active feeds are going to start dropping here pretty soon because it is getting late for their programming. Let me see here. Adjust my camera. I don't have really anything else at this point. I mean, we're just kind of in limbo. We're kind of in limbo, folks. No real active news at this point. Let me see if there's anything local. Let me see if BBC is back up. They are not. Yeah, most of the feeds are going to drop here now. Well, that is the situation in Providence, Brown University. There's really nothing active going on at the moment. There's still a heavy investigation in and around the area of Brown University, Providence, Rhode Island. And all authorities say if you have any information leading to the capture of the suspect, you can call 401-727-3121. Oh, we can go back up. Actually, we have a feed. Here we go.
The city of Providence is mourning and in shock tonight. People who live near Brown University have been told to stay inside and not to leave their homes. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Lisa Hughes.
And I'm Ken McLeod. It was day 2 of final exams there right before the holiday break when gunfire and panic arrived. Here's what we know right now. The gunman opened fire just after 4 this afternoon in a first-floor classroom at the Barris and Holly building, which houses classrooms and lab space for engineering and physics students. 2 of those students were killed.
9 students are at Rhode Island Hospital tonight. And again, there's a manhunt underway for the gunman who police say was dressed in black. They have not yet recovered a weapon.
We have team coverage of the tragedy, the ongoing manhunt, and the shelter-in-place order that remains in effect. Let's go ahead and begin with WBZ's Logan Hall, who's been on scene all night for us.
Yeah, Ken, that's right. Good evening. We've been out here for several hours, and the streets here have remained mostly empty as students are still very much following those shelter-in-place orders. Now, at this hour, officials are still actively searching for that shooter. The latest update to come from officials in the most recent press conference is that they now have video of the man that they believe is responsible for this shooting.
X4, did you get any calls from Brown University? They're reporting an active shooter.
The search is still underway for the shooter at Brown University. New footage shows the man police believe to be the suspect leaving the building where the shooting took place.
It's of who we believe is the suspect, leaving that area, walking on Hope Street and taking a right on Waterman towards the water. He's going to be wearing dark clothing. You're not going to be able to see his face. Dark gray or black clothing. And some of the witnesses have also told us that he may have been wearing a camouflage gray mask.
The first call came in around 4:05 p.m. The shooting took place in the Holly Engineering building on campus with classrooms and labs. The university says final exams were underway at the time of the shooting. At the latest update, officials confirming that there is a new victim who suffered non-threatening injuries from fragments of the bullet.
There is one additional victim of today. So now there are 9 injured individuals. There was one additional victim who had left the scene. It was not a gunshot wound. The individual learned that they had received fragments from the shooting that had occurred near them.
Shelter-in-place orders were put into effect for the greater Brown University area. Brown University President Christina Paxson addressing students during this terrifying moment.
I know the students are anxious, and I know they're in very constant communication with loved ones and parents through social media and on their phones. If we hear that students need support, if they have a medical issue or something like that, we will address it. Our major priority right now is for their safety.
Now, there are over 400 police officers right now searching for that shooter. And Rhode Island Governor Dan McGee tells us that the FBI and ATF are also assisting in the investigation. For now, reporting live in Providence, I'm Logan Hall, WBZ News.
Logan, thank you. Police don't know, even at this late hour, where the gunman entered the Barris and Holly building, but they know he walked out the exit on Hope Street. Working with the FBI, they're going through every tip that has come in since the shooting, and they are going through surveillance video tonight. They're also asking the public for any footage, including Ring doorbell camera video that may show an image of that suspect. And while Brown and the surrounding neighborhood are sheltering in place tonight, people are reeling from this deadly attack far from campus.
WBZ's Louisa Moeller is live in Providence with that part of the story. She's been talking to people at the reunification center that was set up by authorities there.
Yeah, Ken, Lisa, I'm at this athletic center at the heart of Brown's campus, which has become the reunification center primarily for students. If you take a look behind me, and you can see in the distance there, those glass doors where we've seen students very slowly filing in over the last couple of hours. And it appears it's been such a slow process that they've actually been screening the students, potentially wanding them and using metal detectors because, of course, this is such an active situation. In order to get them here and get them out of that nearly or more than 6-hour lockdown, we've seen a slew of city buses and Brown buses. They pull up to the entrance here. We've seen students file off. They walk down here and then can stand in line to go into this athletic facility, some of them leaving with their parents.
All right,
now,
sorry
of
about
course,
that. Use the
this is an
bathroom.
exhausting and emotional experience, one I frankly cannot imagine. And it's very eerie, especially as you pull up to this part of campus. It's quiet. There's no one around except for law enforcement. And then you come here and you see, law enforcement with long guns, you see armored vehicles, and you see your classmates again after many, many hours. So we spoke with several students and a faculty member about what this experience has been like. Of course, they said it's surreal. One faculty member said she was stuck in a gym with students for multiple hours, and they started trying to do relaxation methods in this gym just to, take it down a notch. So take a listen to what everybody had to say about what this felt like.
It was appalling. I don't stand for any of it that was going on, but I was glad that law enforcement was there quick enough.
You witnessing a shooting happen in real time. What's going through your mind when you see that?
I didn't witness the shooting happen. I witnessed the aftermath of it, but it's still a lot to take in. Of course. What did you see? I saw the victims outside after they had been shot.
When you say the victims, what do you mean exactly?
The people who got shot. So.
Were people trying to help them, or what? What
did it look like? Yeah. The police, law enforcement were there, helping and getting them safe and into the ambulances.
I didn't see the shooting. About an hour before I guess the shooting happened, I walked in that area on Thayer Street, and then I decided to go to a cafe. It was a Meeting Street Cafe just off of Thayer, and I just stayed there for the next 6 hours. And I mean, if I didn't know better, I didn't know there was a shooting going on at all. I didn't see any lights. I didn't see anything, but just now I just got transported by the bus.
They've been asking for information. We've been doing our best to give it to them.
So obviously this has been a very lengthy process. It's past 11 p.m. They were in these lockdowns starting around 4 p.m. and we are still seeing students come to this area and some still leaving with their parents. For now, we're live outside of Brown University. Louisa Moeller, WBZ News.
All right, Louisa, thanks for that. This is cell phone video from inside the Brown University library. Now, it was taken after police searched the building and were escorting students out of the library after officers determined the shooter wasn't there.
Now, we have some experience with manhunts here in Boston. Chief Investigator Cheryl Fiandaca was the Boston police spokesperson at the time of the marathon bombing.
She worked alongside former Boston Police Commissioner Ed
A
Davis
lot of
in
what
those
Todd
tense
talked about
days
when he
and
was on the
remembers
show a little
steps
while ago.
investigators took to find the men responsible. Cheryl?
Well, Ken and Lisa, it was an all-out manhunt as it is tonight. Police desperate to find out who the gunman is and where he is.
The only description currently is a male with a gray hoodie and gray pants with a mask on.
Take a good look at this video of the man police say shot nearly a dozen students at Brown University. Police releasing the video of the gunman leaving the building after the shooting. Officials hoping that someone will recognize his clothing or his walk and identify him.
It appears as though this person escaped, although I will caution that sometimes these guys go to ground. They're still in the area, and you have to go block by block and street by street and check all the buildings to make sure that they're not hiding in a garage or a basement or something.
Investigators going door to door, reviewing video from cameras in the area and following up on tips. Police getting help from the ATF and the FBI.
It takes a long time. It takes multiple SWAT teams, people that are prepared for the worst. At the same time, all that is going on. The FBI is downloading cell phone towers. We call it dumping the tower to get all the data of cell phones that were hitting off those towers. And there are thousands and thousands of them. So that data has to be gone through. In the combination of the cell phone data and any video or cameras that you get your hands on is a very powerful way to solve these situations.
But as the hours tick by, the gunman could now be anywhere. And police experts say the situation becomes more desperate and dangerous.
Very difficult, tense situation, very dangerous for the officers, and I'll say very dangerous for the community. We don't know how this is going to break. We don't know if this guy's going to surrender. We don't know if he's going to be captured or identified.
Thank you, the Rogue Townie.
by the
Appreciate
police,
that. Thank
or
you
if he
so
takes
much.
his own life. That happens frequently in these situations, or if there's another assault. So this may be a rolling thing. Sometimes these things go for days on end, and it's very unsettling.
I hope it doesn't.
Well, police say
You don't
they
need
are
this
getting
person
tips and
shooting
help
anymore
from other
places.
departments and federal agencies. They're hoping someone knows something or recognizes the man in the video and will call them. Lisa, Ken?
Cheryl, we appreciate that. Thank you. President Trump was briefed about the shooting and has reached out to Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee.
The president spoke about the incident very briefly earlier tonight as he was returning to the White House.
I've been fully briefed on the Brown University situation, what a terrible thing it is. And all we can do right now is pray for the victims and for those that were very badly hurt, it looks like. And we'll inform you later as to what's happening. But
I'm looking on
it's
X.
a shame. It's a shame.
There's not really any real updates. I mean, we're kind of in limbo at this point.
She released a statement that reads, "My heart is with Brown University and the city of Providence, and I'm praying for everyone impacted by this tragic act of violence." Massachusetts State Police are in close contact with Rhode Island officials, and I've been in touch with Governor Dan McKee to offer our full support and assistance.
FBI Director Kash Patel posted this message on X. FBI personnel are on the scene and assisting this evening after the shooting at Brown University, and we will provide all capabilities necessary. Please pray for all those involved. We will update with more information as we are able. Now, the FBI already has a dedicated website to upload photos and videos of the incident at Brown University, this deadly attack. It is fbi.gov/Brown University shooting.
Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren posted this.
So the 12 o'clock spot was weird. We were live on the feed and it went dead. But if you all want to go back and see Todd on this channel, you can always rewind it or just watch afterwards when I get done streaming. You can go back. Oh, I don't know if this is a live update. Let's see.
Really meaningful updates or breaking news through the night. This will be our last update of the evening. We will absolutely share if there are important or impactful updates in the middle of the night. But at this time, we're expecting this to be the last update for now. Again, I'm joined by Governor Dan McKee, and the state's partnership and cooperation and assistance through this process has been invaluable, and I want to thank the governor for that. Also joined by members of the Providence City Council who have done an excellent job of keeping their constituents involved and informed through what an extraordinarily stressful night for everybody in the city of Providence or throughout the state of Rhode Island. Special acknowledgement and recognition to the councilman for this neighborhood, whose neighborhood is under a shelter in place right now, which is Councilman John Goncalves. Thank you, Councilman. At this time, we have no further update to provide in the status of our investigation and the search for the individual who is still at large. We have shared the image of the individual we believe to be the shooter. We know that there is not a clear shot of the face in what was provided, but we continue to canvass the neighborhood and the campus for additional video footage, still photography, and are interviewing witnesses. I mentioned earlier we are asking for help from the community in terms of tips or relevant information, and I want to thank the FBI who has set up a new website to allow for videos or photos to be uploaded. I'd like to share that with you at this time, and we'll provide it also after the fact. But the website address is fbi.gov/Brown University shooting. Again, that's fbi.gov, Brown University shooting. We know that the telephone line doesn't allow, obviously, for the uploading of video or photographs. This website does allow for that. And our partnership with the FBI, which has been excellent throughout the evening, they quickly stood up this resource to allow us to comb through additional evidence or tips as they may come in. The Providence Police also has a specific tip line now for this incident. That phone number is 401-652-5767. Again, that's 401-652-5767. That's the Providence Police tip line specifically for this incident. Before I turn it over to the governor, I just want to speak to the shelter in place that remains in effect for the Brown campus and the surrounding areas. We will keep the shelter in place in effect until such time as it has been lifted. It has been very helpful both for the safety and security of our neighbors, but more importantly for the investigation.
You're welcome,
that remain in effect. It has allowed police, Providence Police, Brown Police, and all of our partners to canvass the neighborhood, look for evidence, assess if there are additional cameras that may yield video evidence, and to do a visual search to help provide and ensure a sense of safety for our community. Having this shelter in place allows them to do their work in the first phase of the investigation. And so we will notify the community through official Providence channels when the shelter is lifted, but it remains in effect to allow law enforcement to conclude and conduct this chapter of the investigation. I also want to speak directly to the fact that it is Saturday night. Tomorrow is Sunday, a week before Christmas, in a city with a lot of things going on. There are shows, a lot of families will be headed to church in the morning. And we, at this time, are not recommending that those events be canceled. It's a personal choice whether you want to cancel your holiday party, but we do not feel it is necessary. In the hours that have eclipsed since the initial shooting, we've received no additional credible information that there is any specific ongoing threat from this individual. And so we do not believe these events need to be canceled. We do believe you can safely go to church in the morning. In order to provide an additional sense of safety and comfort and confidence, there will be an enhanced and visible law enforcement presence throughout the community tomorrow. We want people to know that there are hardworking men and women in law enforcement there for their protection and safety. And it's been a blur of the last couple of hours, but I would like to reiterate our deep gratitude for how hard law enforcement is working right now. They will be up and out all night tonight and throughout the day tomorrow, and will remain hard at work until the individual responsible is brought to justice.
A little soft.
But tomorrow, on Sunday, you will see police officers throughout the city, and we are receiving and relying on and grateful for the assistance from the state police and our neighboring communities, all of whom have offered to help. We know this is a scary time, but we also know that tomorrow there is some business that needs to get done. People want to take their kids to church in the morning, and we want them to feel comfortable doing so. Those are the updates that I have to share. I'd like to invite Governor McKee to share a few words. Then we'll hear from Colonel Perez, Chief of the Providence Police Department, and then we'll take your questions. Governor?
I got to be honest here. I just don't personally think that those things should happen in the area. I don't know. I would have liked to see a lockdown and some door knocking, like we saw in the Boston bombings. At least in and around and clear that area. I don't know if you guys agree with me. Let me know. Is it the smartest thing to go out tomorrow in the community? Just 24 hours fresh from this incident? Would you stay home at least a day or two, right? Would you stay home at least a day or two and give the officers out there on the street a 24 or 48 hour, canvassing that area? I mean, I just don't think it's the best thing to be running around that area tomorrow. Right? I would give myself at least 20. I would give myself 24 hours if I lived in and around that area to not really go out. Give the law enforcement officials, the 400 or so plus law enforcement officials, to give them some time to canvass the area, right? I just don't think it's the smartest thing. Now it starts to lead me to believe, do they have some information and they're just not telling the public that this guy got out of the area? This person or whoever, people get out of the area. Could that be a possibility? What do you guys think? To say, oh, well, there's no ongoing threat to the community. Are you kidding me? Did you just see what happened? All right, let's go back up here. Let's see what you guys think in the chat.
As stated, obviously, first and foremost, my thoughts and prayers to the family for losing their loved ones, especially in these times of the holidays that we'll get together with our family. So beyond that, I'll tell you that when the call came in, immediately our officers responded. Providence Police was here within minutes. At that point, obviously, we communicated with Brown Police and we did what we needed to do. At this point, as the mayor stated, we're going to continue to canvass the area. We have enhanced enforcement in the city. I got to thank our municipalities, our brothers and sisters from other municipalities who actually reached out immediately, asking if I needed anything, as well as the state police. And so we're there with that, as well as the federal agencies, the FBI, ATF, who came and responded immediately and provided extra personnel, extra
Thank you for
resources.
being here on X.
At this point, it's all hands on deck. And I'll tell you that it was said by the mayor, it was said by the governor. It will be our job to ensure that the individual is responsible is brought to justice. I think as a father, as a brother, as an uncle, I think that we want to bring justice and sort of a relief to these families, and again, my heart goes out to them. I'll tell you that the mayor mentioned about the shelter in place. It's important to keep that in mind. These are fluid, dangerous situations, and we need to make sure.
See, I kind of like this guy's approach here. Is a little bit smarter. Say, hey, look, the shelter in place remains in effect. Again, you can't force people to stay inside, but I would recommend and just say, hey, maybe tomorrow you stay home. I don't know. I just don't think it would be the safest thing to really get up at 8 o'clock in the morning if this suspect hasn't been caught, suspect or suspects haven't been caught. We don't know if they're going to pop up in the area again or if they're out of the area. And I just, listen, I urge everybody to do the things that they want to do, but I don't know. I would just kind of hang out at home for at least a little while on Sunday. Let's go back to the live feed here.
This classroom,
Excuse me.
this building, fires, and then exits. So nothing else on the campus seems very targeted. Was there a student that flunked out of a class?
Seems at Mustang, right?
Some connection, that building, that classroom.
Correct. And that's a great point, John. And I'll tell you that Detective Division is looking into that. Obviously, Major LaPena is actually on the street right now, as well as the captains. And that's something that we need to look at, right? What was this building? Why was this classroom? And as well, work very closely with Brown Police to see what type of resources they have in the building so that we can utilize to find the evidence that we need to follow and identify who this individual was.
So one quick follow-up. When you look at that video,
Yes.
he's going right down Waterman, comes up Hope Waterman. What does that tell you? He seems fairly calm. He's not running. He's walking at a brisk pace. Your background, what does that tell you about this suspect?
I'll tell you, this individuals, you see it nationwide. You never think it will happen here in the city of Providence, but that's the dynamic.
Okay, I'm going to just read this. This is from Brown University, and this was at 11:06 p.m. So about an hour ago, hour and, 30 minutes ago. It says, Brown U alert law enforcement agencies have established a perimeter around portion of the Browns campus as depicted on a map published at www.brown.edu. Individuals are already in the resident buildings within that perimeter should continue to shelter in place there. Police will enter all administrative non-residential buildings within the perimeter marked by red boxes on the map to escort all individuals to safe locations outside their perimeter. All individuals inside the administration buildings within the perimeter should continue to shelter in place until law enforcement officials arrive. For all locations in and outside the perimeter, the shelter in place remains ongoing unless escorted by law enforcement officer. This ensures no movement across campus. And I'll drop that link in the chat if you're in and around that area. Let's go back up here.
And make sure that people are safe. So it was clear from that news conference they're
And
committed to trying
$5.
to
Thank you
carry
so
out
much.
this
Thank you
manhunt
for all that
until
you do,
they
Mr.
find the
Brian
individual
LTL. You're
who
very
fired in
classy
that
and
building today,
informative.
killing
Thank
2
you so
students
much.
and wounding 7 more.
And
I
they've asked the
appreciate
community
you.
to acknowledge the efforts of law enforcement, who's going to be out there all night. They say rally round law enforcement. Again, the governor, Dan McKee, promising that eventually there will be justice in this. So this is an event that is apparently going to go on throughout the night.
And we'll continue to follow this. We also have an important story here. We have snow moving on overnight, and this is a forecast that has changed a little bit.
Just a little bit for the South Shore especially. Let's get a first look at what appears to be a south of Boston event with meteorologist Dan Brown. Dan?
All right, yes, certainly looking a little more robust than we were thinking just the last couple of days. So snow is indeed going to be moving in over the next couple of hours. In fact, we've already started.
Get our weather. Get our weather. All right, my friends. I think this may be an ongoing overnight investigation. It's almost close to 1 a.m. here on the East Coast. Not really much that we can go by at this moment. Let me see if I have any other updates here. Let's see. University. Yeah, the last update I just read from Brown was the one that I just read. That's what they've tweeted out. Let me see if Providence Police has any updates. Nothing from Providence. But about an hour ago, they have the tip line at 401-652-5767. If you have any tips or information leading to the capture of the subject or subjects, please call that number. Thank you so much. You Ain't Hardcore. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think we're going to probably go off air here in a few minutes. I want to thank the over 5,000 people that watched this stream tonight. We had close to about 4,200 on X. Right now, we've peaked out on YouTube at about 631. And then my friends over on Facebook, we got 3 of them watching on Facebook. But I think that's all we're going to really get at this time. And I've done this before, and I've gone off air, and then all of a sudden something breaks. But I think I'm going to go off air. And if something breaks, if I'm not asleep in the next half an hour and something breaks, I definitely will jump back live for you all. If not, obviously there'll be continuing coverage tomorrow if we don't, or if we do have a subject or subjects in custody. I will always update you guys as well too. So it's about 1 a.m. here on the East Coast, pretty close, about 10 minutes out. Let me just do a final update for you all before I leave here. So let's see. Real quick, just to recap. So in the early hours of the morning, in Rhode Island, where police are searching for a gunman who opened fire on students in a classroom during exams this week at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. This is where everything stands at this moment of time. 2 students were killed when a gunman attacked students at Brown University in the city of Providence. A further 9 people have been treated at the area hospital. One is in critical condition. 6 are described as critical but stable, and 2 others have less severe injuries. Police have released the CCTV footage of a male suspect who has been seen walking away from the building dressed head to toe in black. We've seen that on repeat throughout the night. We know very little about the suspect at this time, including the identity, motive, or where he could be found. A massive security operation is underway in Providence to locate the suspect, with armed police swarming the city. Brown University remains on lockdown, with students told to stay in their rooms. Some surrounding neighborhoods have been placed under strict security measures. if you have any tips or any information leading up to the shooter or why this active shooter had done this, you can call the tip line. That's right to the Providence Police at 401-652-5767. Thank you so much for subbing. I appreciate that. All right, everybody. I'm going to head out of here. I just wish all my friends in and around the Providence area, especially in the Brown area, to be safe, shelter in place. If you see, you hear anything, share it with local law enforcement. And again, you can use that tip line that was scrolling at the bottom all night. Let me just do one last refresh before I go out and see if we have any update. Nothing yet. Okay, this does look like a very fluent and active situation. And I appreciate all of you. Please be safe. And I will report tomorrow if we have any updates or if something breaks in the next half an hour to an hour. Take care. I'm Brian. I'm signing out. It's LTL Media. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to everybody soon. Please be safe. Take care.